us back, to hold us, try to hold us back.
We will be here forever.
Hey, it's Shan here. This week, I catch up with Russell Grundy. Russell is a former sponsored skateboarder. He's currently a judge of some of the biggest skateboarding competitions in Australia and parts of the world. He's deeply involved with community activities and leading community initiatives such as free skate clinics, where he teaches coaches how to be coaches of skateboarding and how to pass on culture and things like that. So it's super cool. I won't make this intro very long because Russ and I speak for like 3 hours, man. Like, he had a lot to say, and it's a bit about skateboarding, but mainly about his life and his experiences and his philosophies on life, which, you know, I enjoy that kind of stuff. So we go deep on some of those topics. I would be keen to have him on again because some of the conversations we had prior to the podcast was super interesting. Crazy experiences he's had in his various travels around the world and the vast amount of time he's spent in America, skateboarding, competing, skating in the Tampa Am, and much, much more. So enjoy getting to know Russell Grundy. Cheers.
Child of the crayon, child of the light, stars of the neon belong to a culture destined to rock for eons. Time doesn't exist, shut those cataracts, capture the virtualist. Now, let's get back to what makes things seem forever, whether it's unseen, unheard, or it's 16 again. Not a bother, fill this old man river, kill a fall that gives all coming up stream.
Yeah, because each day you grow and you become a new person. So I would feel that emotionally I'm more than I was like in the past. I don't think I've regressed from that.
You know, some people don't have that growth mindset of trying to progress and improve themselves or learn from their mistakes, as you say.
Then they'll keep repeating the same thing until they get the result. The lesson that they'll keep They'll keep repeating the same lesson until they learn.
Yeah,
you know.
It's true, hey?
Yeah, 100%. Like you'll just get in a cycle until you learn your lesson.
It's true.
Fuck around and find out, you know.
What, in your life, what centers you? What brings you back down to earth?
What centers me? Wow. Just breathing.
Okay.
Really? Yeah. Stop and have a look around every now and then.
What about when it gets chaotic?
It depends what the chaos is. When I was in a state of sadness, long sadness through some things in the past, where I found happiness was I sat in that sadness and I was like, well, life's beautiful and there's beauty in this sadness right now, and to sit through and experience it is part of the life experience. So enjoy this as it is, because as happiness is an emotion, so sadness, and it has its own beauty. So be happy that you're sad, if that makes sense. Like, be content with that. It's emotion, it's part of life. So with that came such a calmness and made everything so much easier and better.
Would you describe it as like an acceptance of the situation? You became more accepting, like not trying to fight against it?
Yeah, just sitting with it. Just sitting in it, and just it will pass like anything. Don't get too high when you're high, and don't get too low when you're low. Just
That's hard
sit with
though.
it. Oh, it is, because it's just going to keep driving. And they have their peaks and their dips.
True. But it's potent when you have a taste of the highs in life. Man, that's potent. Like, you want more of that.
Yeah, you don't chase the dragon. Not at all. Yeah, you just got to ride with what it comes, because you can't predict the outcome. Each situation is unique.
Give me an example of like a really high moment in your life.
Wow. All right, this one's...
Putting you on the spot, eh?
No, this one's pretty good. I like this one. We used to do these tours with Billabong and Channel V. So they were like on air live. Some, like, 1 year they were through the weekdays, and next year it was like over the weekends, and they would we did that for a few years. And they were live on Channel V, and we would have shows with music. So there would be different bands and things like that. You would have ones that would tour with you for a couple of weeks and change, and also do individual ones. So like Good Charlotte was an individual, but 28 Days travelled with us for 2 weeks, and we would do these stops. And usual day is get up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., have breakfast. They would have like this big setup where everyone's eating. It's like 50 people. Travel to your next destination, and they start setting up the stage. And that there was like 1 year there was a vert ramp. It was getting set up at each second one, and we'd have like Bucky Lassick, the Pappas Brothers, and things like that. People like that, sorry. And then on this one, we was in Broken Hill. Wow. And we'd like film at the skate park for the day because they would play it in between clips.
In Broken Hill?
Yeah.
That's so random.
Yeah, real flat town. Because we
Is there
did
a
all
skate
rural.
park there?
Yeah, it's like a metal one, like those. And we would do rural or coastal, like depending on what year or whatever. Went from the tip to Tassie and inwards and things. And so this one was Broken Hill, and I'd been doing these for a bit. At the time, I'd been traveling for like 6 weeks straight, and it was a Sunday, and I had back spasms for the first time, like muscle spasms, and went to the hospital and saw the doctor, because I'd never felt this before. And the doctor, this was like a Sunday afternoon, you're in Broken Hill, there's no chemist open today. Can you get any weed? And I was like, yeah, I'm on a tour. Yeah, of course. And he's like, just go and have a smoke and lie down for the afternoon. You just been traveling in different beds, hard and soft. You're also pushing your body to its limits. And then do that. So yeah, after you would have the show, then an after party, then you make it back to your bed, sleep for however many hours if you do get any sleep, and then back on the bus and that. So after the hospital, had a smoke, and went to walk on the bus because it's like a 40-degree day or something in the middle of the desert, and it was like a big double-decker bus, and that's where the AC was. So I just wanted to go and lie down. Went to walk on the bus, and the promotions lady's like, oh, can't have you come on. And I was like, why is that? And she's just like, security. I'm like, no. Like, I've been traveling for like 6 weeks. I've gone to hospital. I'm doing what the doctors told me. There's the only place to lie down in there where it's cool.
Yeah.
I need to do that. So she's like, give me a second. Goes upstairs, talks to the artist, comes back and says, yeah, you can go upstairs. So I go up, and I see these guys there with the guitars, just two of them. And they like make me a space, and they're like, here, lie down. And like, grab me a pillow on that, get a pillow, lie down. One guy's like, here's, do you want a banana? And I was like, yeah, I have some bananas. And I'm sitting there, and then these guys are jamming, warming up for the show. And I'm like, this is really good. I was like, I like this. And it was Ben Harper and Jack Johnson.
Hey,
so
dude.
for like an hour, I had just them at my feet, jamming, just us three. It was chill. Got to fall in love with their music right there.
Were you into them before that?
No, not at all.
But you'd heard of them?
Not really.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I remember that era. They were huge.
Yeah, massive. I didn't realise. And then they're like, do you want to come down and watch the show? And I was like, yeah. So I just followed them out of the bus, dragged a beanbag over, sat in the shade, just watched the show, like in front of this, stage thing or whatever.
Nice. And
then after that, yeah, the good times continued through the night, you could say. Not with them, but just like, the turn of events for the day. So that was a good day in total. But there's a lot of highs and lows. That's just one that sticks out because it had a really good skate in the day, and then it had like a little dip, and then just hearing those euphoric sounds and being in a moment of just complete calmness, chill, like relaxed as you could be.
Yeah. When you're involved in those kind of things, Do you find it hard to balance skateboarding and partying?
Nope.
Okay. You're doing both
Yeah.
and able to just manage?
Yeah.
Could you manage that lifestyle now in your 40s?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a big call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't get consumed by it.
Consumed by what?
Well, skating plays so much of my life, and with the partying, like I don't try and push those limits like I do with my skating. Like that's where the balance is. Get to a point where I'm happy and I'll coast or cruise. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I'm not trying to like be the most fucked up guy at the place. That's never been me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
you're able to keep a lid on it and not know where to draw the line, eh?
Yeah. I've got a bender tattoo because I love benders.
What do you mean you love benders?
Yeah.
Bender, is that from Futurama?
Yeah.
Ah, right. I never really watched that show.
Yeah. Well, he's always drinking and smoking and stuff because he's on a bender always.
But you like a bender,
I don't mind a bender.
but just not all the time.
It's just as it comes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really plan for them.
Okay.
They just happen.
Is that because you just want to enjoy life, and if the vibes are high and with the right people, you're ready to
Yeah, that's
roll?
what's going on. If at that moment I'm doing it, not sitting there trying to plan my life around it,
Yeah.
not trying to waste money on it, not trying to chase that. It's just with the right people in the right time, and something appears. Yeah, I'll go and enjoy that and spend moments and make memories.
Yeah, make memories. I love that. So tell us again, where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Morisset.
So for those that aren't aware, where's that geographically in Australia?
32.
I know the latitude and longitude.
I'm pretty close. So it is on Lake Macquarie, the biggest saltwater lake in the Southern Hemisphere. It's in between 2/3 from Sydney to Newcastle, 2/3 of the way. Yeah, it's a beautiful spot where the Great Dividing Range gets close to the coast and creates a lake.
Yeah, nice. Good memories of your childhood in that area?
Great memories. I did a lot of played a lot of sport growing up. Dad got us into footy, then ended up going into soccer because we lived on the water. Did a lot of things like scuba diving, snorkeling, getting towed behind boats on boogie boards and things all the time. Sailing, did sailing for a few years. And just anything to be active, playing in the bush, making cubbies, catching food, eating it.
How did you take the footy pretty naturally?
Footy was Dad's thing, and I'm smaller than most, and I only really did that till about year 9. I mean, no, not year 9. Sorry, 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my little brother played soccer. Went to a gala day with him one day. Funnily enough, it was over near Mayfield, not far from here, and the under-9s needed another player, from Morisset, and so I'd use my little brother's boots and shorts when he wasn't playing and go play, for the under-9s, end up scoring a couple of goals in the first few games, and the coach ended up turning up to my school and signing me up, and I just switched sports from footy to soccer.
Sick.
Yeah, it was some fun.
Again, I think we talked about this the other day when we were chatting, how a lot of skaters have a soccer background.
It's the foot-eye coordination.
You really think that, yeah?
100%.
It has to be, eh?
Yep.
Nice.
Because that's a correlation.
Yeah. So from there, how old were you when you picked up your first skateboard?
15.
Right.
Yeah, so I got the balance from, getting tired behind the boats and the skis and things like that. And then the coordination from the soccer. Played basketball, did volleyball for a bit too. That was a bit different. I was the smallest person on that team, that's for sure.
You're not that small.
I'm not large. I was in the...
I'd call you more sort of in the medium range, or bigger?
I was like in year 8 or 9.
Oh, back then you were
I
small.
was smaller.
Okay.
And then I was playing with people who were like in year 12. And most of them were Islanders. So I was like at least a foot smaller than everyone. I would just help set them up so then they could do the spiking and things like that.
Yeah.
They would do the hits over the fence. I would make it so they could make the points.
So even on the soccer field, were you one of the smaller players on the field?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it bred some tenacity in you, determination and things like that?
I think it's just in my blood.
In your blood?
Yeah.
Was your dad like that?
And it actually goes through my whole bloodline. Grundy is Latin for battle ruler. And each male of descendant of coming from my father's side has played part in some form of war or battle going back to the Renaissance ages.
There you go.
And always been like, really involved.
Like warrior spirit?
Kinda.
Dude.
Yeah, Dad was pretty gnarly. He was a Red Beret, which is like the most, like, he's done like 380 something jumps out of planes and can do all sorts of stuff. Like, yeah.
Army?
Yeah. So he's a trained weapon, that's for sure. We had the police turn up to our house a couple of times because Dad would be at the pub and he would end fights that people would start.
When you were a kid, though, were you intimidated by him?
Not at all.
Interesting.
No, you are from your father. Everyone
We
is.
all are.
Dad never laid a hand on us. Mum did the strapping and stuff because she thought it was better that she does that.
Mm.
So, and they always use like a wooden spoon or a leather belt or something. So it's not the actual physical hand hitting you because then when your hand hits them, that's when it causes the trauma. That's why they used to do the caning in schools because you didn't see it as the principal or the teacher, you saw it as the actual thing hitting you.
There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnection there.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. People always have a story about how like their mum used to break the wooden spoon on their ass and stuff.
My older brother in year 7, he would used to break all the wooden spoons with his ass. He'd learn how to like tense his ass and snap the spoon. And he decided in woodwork to make Mum this really nice spoon with a thick handle. And he wrote on it with the wood burner for salads only. She used that shit on him. He regretted that. It's so funny. She probably still has it to this day. I reckon I could find it.
That's a classic, dude.
Yeah.
I remember I got the cane in year 6 because I'm old enough to when the cane was still around. Yeah, man, traumatized me.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. And it's funny. It wasn't so much about the actual pain of getting hit. It was just the whole scenario. Like I'm in a room, locked in like in an office with a strange man who's the principal. He's like, put your hand out to the side. There's no one in the room. It's just the two of us. Like, just super intimidating situation, like dark energy. It's like, okay, put your hand out. And I'm like, no, don't do it. You know, whack. Just slap my hand. Like,
Yeah. You think of the thing, don't you? They hit you.
You do, but I do remember him and his face. That's interesting.
Well, I remember my principles.
Excuse me. What?
I remember my principles.
You don't?
No, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I never had that.
Were you in trouble a lot?
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like here
Are
and
you
there.
sure?
What's that?
You sure? You weren't like a naughty kid?
Yeah.
How would you describe you at high school, for example? Where'd you fit in?
I just floated around. Like I didn't. It wasn't until like year 11 and 12 that I found like an actual group that I sat with. But it just would, if I wasn't here, I was there, and I was friends with everyone from so many different years. Still do that type of stuff to this day.
What do you mean?
I just float around. I get around. You know, I'm not constantly doing everything with one group of friends.
So you're not like, I only hang out with skateboarders?
Nah, but that was how it was for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just that it's like, you know how people get in cliques?
Yeah.
And they kind of stay in that group and they do things. Yeah.
Because it's comfortable, right? It's
Don't know.
well, for a lot of people it is,
Yeah, I guess so. The familiarity.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the word, I guess.
Yeah, that is. It's comfortable, it's safe, people don't want to venture out of that. And they should, because there's heaps of growth, yeah. And there's heaps of good stuff to do and have more fun to have, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely is. You learn a lot from different walks of life. So I don't sit there and think that I'm on a higher or better than anyone. So the people that I've hung out with either have nothing or have a lot, abundance, and some people that come from nothing have better morals, and some people that, it doesn't matter what their background is. It's just situational and who the people are. I don't think that, like, if you grow up with abundance of stuff, that means that you're automatically going to be selfish or a prick or anything like that. Because I know a lot of people that have grown up with stuff and they've had the right guides, the right guidance, and actually good humans. And I've had the other way around, like people that have had nothing. Because that's usually what you think of, like people go like, oh, no, someone has nothing and they're heaps nice, or and they start to paint that picture. But I've also seen it the other way, like people that grow up with not much and they'll step over anyone for anything.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
They'll stab you in the back. They'll be your best mate. You'll think that these are so good. They're just used to manipulating. They're used to, like, understanding the situation and getting what they want out of someone in the ways that they can, or keeping that person there until they get their thing.
And saying or doing whatever they have to do to get there.
Exactly.
Have you seen a lot of that in your life?
I have.
Do you think it's just human nature?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to think positive. So I think everyone's on a path, and it just takes different, like, situations and different things to get to the end goal, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're either further along or further, people are further along on this path of positivity.
Right. Yeah. Like, do you try to look for the good in all people?
In everyone and everything.
Dude, that's
Always.
a beautiful quality.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. I just feel like the world's out to get me sometimes.
Yeah, well, the thing is like when you've been burnt, so many times or scalded really hard, that can leave that effect. But it's not until you got to realize that, like, it doesn't have to do with you. So happiness lies within. And as long as you know that you're doing the right thing, then just you can sit with that. People are going to make their own choices and do their own thing through life. That's just how it's going to be. And like I said, some have either found it or they haven't found it yet. But if you're blaming things, is victim mentality. And I'm not calling you a victim in any way, shape, or form.
I have in the past had a victim mentality.
And it's because it's easier to blame someone than accept within. And it's just difficult to do that. But we can all do it. It's possible. And, like, I can say words, but that's if it resonates with someone, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, it's everyone will find their own peace in time.
I love that you said that. Have you ever heard the philosophy of, like, other people's happiness is not your responsibility? Happiness is their responsibility.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying, but I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's like I'm just relating to what you're saying. Similar. Yeah, it's the same vibe, right?
Yeah, so I've had that, like, through so many different relationships with people, whether it's someone that I've been with intimately or just like a mate. So I've seen all those types of things where it's like it's that, like, yeah, you can. Anytime someone does me wrong, I just kind of sigh and I'm like, fuck, oh well. But ultimately you put yourself in that position at the time, and you like to trust someone. I like to trust, and when you start to give someone that trust, you also give them the ability to hurt you in a sense because you're opening yourself up to them. The hard part is to continuously open yourself up to people when you get burnt by so many. But it doesn't, each thing that one person does doesn't mean that the next person's going to do that. And that's the hardest battle in that, mindset. It's like once someone scolds you, you then think, oh, the next person's going to do this. Or you might relate something like, oh, this person does this similar to that person, so they're going to do it. But it's not. They're two different people. And we're going to look for similarities. So another one that I saw, I think I spoke to you this the other day, is if you were to look around the room and then I told you to close your eyes and look for the brown, you're going to sit there and be able to look for the brown, but then you also find anything that like kind of tans and all sorts of things that you can be like, all right, that's kind of brown. But then if I said, what was red, because you weren't looking for it, you're not going to know it was there.
But it was there.
That it was there. So if you're looking for negativity, you're going to look for any possible shade of it to work with the mindset of that you actually have for this person or moment in time. And it can work on the reverse effect too. If you look for the positivity, you look for all the little positive things and, how that can help shape that moment.
Yeah, man.
In person.
It's so good that, going back to what you're saying about when you've been burnt, then, you start to prepare for it for the next time. That is like really primal, that self-preservation, expecting someone else to do the same. And that's what I've learned. I think that's where forgiveness, like actively forgiving, is so important, to then open yourself up again to the next person, or even if it's a friendship.
Yeah. No, like all relationships.
All relationships.
All relationships. And you can't predict the outcome, and everyone comes to their own choice and their own decision through their own space. And you have to respect that at the same time. So once you start accepting people for who they are, and then it's easier because you're just like, that's just who they are. And they will get there. They'll get to where they're meant to be in their time. And, accepting them for their time and space that they're in.
Mm. These are pretty deep philosophies. Do you align with any religious denomination? Or is it just life lessons
Life lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because these are quite, the themes that you're talking about are heavily based in a lot of spirituality.
Yeah. I guess.
How do you feel about me describing you as like a spiritual character?
Yeah, I'd like to, I don't know everything, and we are more than just the primal thing that you spoke of. I do believe that there is more to us than just an animal, and even animals as that. Like, we see them as they are, but we don't know how they sit on another playing field. And once again, just being okay with not knowing as well, not trying to act like I understand everything. And there is a bigger picture as well, but not without trying to make yourself, because I know when people talk about like, oh, there's a bigger picture and we're just like an ant in the hill. It's like, yeah, but don't put yourself down so much, because you matter as well, because to each person you are your own world also. So I know people like to minimalize their worth by saying there's so much going on, there's so many people and all that. It's like, no, you're special. Accept that.
So true.
Yeah.
I've been teaching my kids about the solar system lately.
That one there?
You can see that poster. And I don't think much about it. I'm like, yeah, you've got the sun and then you've got Mercury, like all the planets. But then start explaining, just reading off the poster, start talking about the scale of these planets in one solar system in the universe, just one system of planets that are affected by one sun. And that's just one system in the whole universe.
You're a teacher.
But what I'm saying is, like, my son goes to me, we're pretty small. And I'm like, he's like, how big are we? Are we as big as a grain of sand in the universe? And I'm like, man, like, we're probably less. And then I started thinking, well, puts my problems in perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if that's going to help you cope, like that can be your coping mechanism. But
do you think we take ourselves too seriously sometimes?
Yeah, or not serious enough.
Okay.
Also, it's like there's no separation between atoms. They just keep getting smaller and smaller, and everything's connected as one. And that's the knowledge that is passed through all when it comes to religion or science. So therefore, everything matters.
It's good for people to hear that. There's people out there that don't feel like they matter.
You definitely matter. You're special. And you're just on your path.
Yeah, it's true. And it's good that you accept that. But to play devil's advocate a little bit, you know, we live in this world where there's a lot of evil in the world and people putting people down constantly. And some people are unable to see the good, the positives.
Okay. I get one for this.
Okay. You got to come back for it?
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
Well, okay, not unable, but their default becomes just expecting the negative, like going back to your analogy of like, you know, what do you see in the room when you close your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, I sometimes think, well, how can you explain that to people that there is positive ways to look at life?
Okay, so they're putting their trust in someone and that's why they're being hurt.
In a human.
In someone else, but then someone's saying something or putting them down. They've put their trust in love and they believe that person so much that they're allowing them to affect themselves.
Gotcha.
This is where you got to bring it back to yourself and you got to know who you are internally. Understand that, you know, that you're doing your best and the right things that you can at the time. The reason words from someone else hurt is because you hold them closely to your heart or above you in some way, shape or form. Like you either care for them or whatever. So you making yourself smaller, like feeling small, like I said, like minimalizing yourself. And then, so that comes from empathy and compassion. You know, allowing someone else's words to hurt you. When you got to realize that that's them saying that, and it's usually a projection of who they see within themselves, and it has nothing to do with you. Because if you know who you are deep down, if that person is hitting the nail on the head and trying to help you, like be a better person, and you're like, oh wow, no, that I actually do that. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, and that can better you. Like, that's a good thing too. Like, you got to look at the positives in that.
Yeah.
So it's like, because otherwise you're going to keep repeating the same thing and lessons until we learn it. And that's sometimes someone comes along and is like, wait, mate, like, your cup's half full.
It's true. But I agree.
Not half empty.
It's true. And I agree. Like, we shouldn't really be putting our faith in other people.
But yeah, you should at the same time.
Well, because the reason I say that is because humans, even the best humans, are flawed. We're all flawed. And I really believe that at some stage that just through human nature, you will be let down by a human at some stage.
Because you put your trust and love in them.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I agree. You shouldn't be putting your faith in a human.
At the same time, you know, it's part of life. And to love and to trust another is there's so much beauty in that at the same time, and to give yourself to one. And that's what we want to do. And that's why when we find our significant other that we spend a lot of time with, we give them our everything, our whole, and we trust our full self with them. You know, when we don't trust our full self with them, then that relationship's not really a real one. You know what I mean? It's hidden, and everything will come out at some point, and then that's when you'll have separation, because there won't be the honesty that there always was. There's expectations that one might have, and doing certain things to get out what they can, like I said before, because they're wanting to take. Yeah. They're not trying to give as much, but they'll give enough to keep you there so then they can take more. But that's it's push and pull, and
It is push and pull.
It is, and that's the yin and yang theory.
Yeah.
like so the masculine, feminine energies, and the way that like everything flows. So you need to have the push and pull for the waves of the universe and energy to flow the way it does.
Yeah, the balance of opposites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is hard, and it really it gets me thinking about, I guess, why I do some of the things I do, and I feel like for me personally, is reducing my expectations of others. Has been very good in my personal development and allowing me to be more forgiving, and
Exactly.
and because
That's where we're at. That's what we're talking about.
it's great, and I think it's like expectations can really let you down sometimes if you do place a high expectation on someone, and sometimes that person doesn't know they have the expectation on them, and then they can't live up to these expectations that they don't even know that are on them, and then you get disappointed.
You shouldn't have expectation. That's the thing.
At all.
No.
Okay.
You should just like when you trust in that, and if someone is who they are, then they will be. True. If they're not, then they won't. It's when expectation comes into it, or trying to live up to someone else's, that's when you start becoming problems. Yeah. Because you're wanting something out of it. You're wanting them to be what you have inside you, or what they have. They want you to be. They want you to be what's inside them, their vision, and therefore it's not. That's where you got two individuals. That's where you have human choice, because you have to respect each other's choices and movement.
Yeah,
it does get hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yes, definitely. That's the trust and love. Back to that, and the empathy and compassion.
Yeah, it's good, man. Compassion's always a good thing, bro. I love that you're talking about that. So. Can we get into some skate stuff?
100%. We can talk. I'm here.
Yes, sir. So you picked up a skateboard at 15, which some might consider to be late, especially these days.
100%.
I started skating at 11, and that was back then. It was a different vibe. But nowadays, the kids are starting at 5 or earlier. So
my son's been on skateboard since he can stand.
Yeah,
not my eldest.
Sick. How's he going with it?
Yeah, good. He just does it. Like, I don't push him to do it. He's just like, when we're out in his skateboards, he just does it. He doesn't listen to me anyway when it comes to like, oh man, you got to stand up on that 50-50. He just looks at me. Like, all right, whatever, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just do you. I had to do me, so let him do him.
Because I was considering getting you to give him a skate lesson, because it's like, I've been trying.
Oh, yeah.
My son, sorry, excuse me. I was considering getting my son a skate lesson with you, because I have tried to teach him myself and he just doesn't listen to me. But then I see him with other people and he's like, listens.
Floyd learned to push from one of my coaches.
There you go.
He didn't learn that shit from me. Yeah. Like he learned it from Alex.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's because I'm dad.
Exactly.
I'm authority.
Yeah.
But he listens to me with a lot of things. It's just when it comes to certain things, he doesn't. And skating's one of them. And that's fine. You can do that. I don't need to gatekeep it or be the controller of it. The whole reason I love skating is it's so free and there's freedom. So I'm not going to tell him how to do it, what to do. I'm just stoked when he does it. And he'll do it as much as he can as long as he has the opportunity to. And with having 3 kids and they all different ages and stuff, it's hard to spend so much time in trying to help develop one skill in that area when the other ones don't necessarily want to be there or have nothing else to do with that space.
Yeah, gotcha. Is your skate school still running?
I do events still through councils and state governments. But actively with the indoor park, no. They are tearing down the building to build apartments.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was some fun.
Yeah.
It existed.
For sure.
I was happy about that.
So I know you over the years you've done you do a lot of free skate clinics.
Yeah.
For the community.
Yep.
Can you give us some background as to how it started and why you started it?
Started it to really just give people, anyone, no matter of financial situation or any sort of background, equal opportunity to give skateboarding, just standing on it and rolling, like having the safety of doing that, and then just opening it up to anyone who might have any doubt of it being difficult or hard, and just wanting a couple little tips to just get the first feeling of the first roll. Then they can take it from there. And if they want to develop tricks, there's other coaches there too.
Like plant the seeds.
Yeah. And so that just come from doing a lot and working with councils and community with all sorts of aspects, and using opportunities and trying to help it to grow, give more people the feeling that I feel when I cruise down the street pushing.
Sick. But also bring people together.
Yeah.
That's not like a team sport environment.
No, it's not. It's not like a versus or anything.
Yeah.
It's just you and the thing.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Versing yourself.
Yeah, well, challenging yourself.
Yeah. It's always been like that with skateboarding, hey?
I guess with anything that we do, we push our limits.
Do you like that aspect of skateboarding?
But trying a trick for 100 times?
Yeah. Pushing yourself when you're, in the battle.
In the battle, not so much. It can get frustrating, but it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And like with life, it is what it is. It's a process, and it's like when you give into it. That's somehow when it happens. When you finally just like, all right, what's stopping me now? Probably the frustration. I'm gonna relax.
Yeah.
And then it will come.
That's what you found when you are in battles, that just the moment you relax, it happens.
Yeah, most of the time.
Like
some of the best stuff I've done
surrendering.
has been, like when I say best stuff, I mean photos or things like that, has been hungover, and I can't be bothered to try a bunch of tricks, and I'm just going to land on this thing and end up rolling away. Okay. And I get out of my head.
So funny. I love, as I'm older, I love the battle more than ever. Like sometimes it feels a bit pathetic that I'm trying a trick 80 times, and it's a trick that some people can just do first shot. But yeah, I'm in pain, and then my mind, I go through all these emotions, and then my brain starts trying to trick me, going, "Oh, you don't even really need to do it. No one cares. What are you doing this for? You're gonna hurt yourself."
Self.
Yeah, there you go.
Bringing back to self again.
What do you mean?
Well, doing things for yourself is better. It's not for anything. You shouldn't do anything for other people.
So you've always been like that with skateboarding? You didn't do it for like accolades or sponsors?
No. I got into it so late, didn't even think about it. Like going in a competition, because I grew up with sport, was just like Saturday. Go along, have a good time. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. Just sometimes come out on top.
How long was it before you went in your first comp?
6 months.
So you've been skating 6 months.
Yeah, I got third in Newcastle skate park, or fourth, sorry. And then I was at school, and someone come up to me and goes, "You're in a magazine," and it was in the Slam mag with my name fourth.
No way.
Yeah.
A photo or just your name
Just
in
your
the
name.
competitive results?
Yeah, just because they used to do all the comps and that, and yeah, it was just like, oh, okay, cool.
Do you remember that? How was that feeling when you seen your name in Slam?
I think because I wasn't like the only mags that I had were the ones my older brother had before that, and skating's something I did, but I just saw it as like another thing. I wasn't engulfed in it yet, where I was buying the mags and all that. These were the diehard skaters in the school that would come up and were like, "Man, you're in the mag," and I was like, I didn't really understand what that meant because I wasn't a huge magazine person. I was a very outdoor, active person, and if I was inside, I was usually doing art, drawing or painting something, and watching cartoons.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know how you said you hang with a diverse range of people?
Yeah.
Do you find, though, that outside of skateboarding, you are drawn to more creative types?
Yes.
I knew it.
I was just at...
What are we talking about, like tattooists? Or?
Yeah, I was just at a tattoo shop, Electric Pantera, before I come here, and was just talking to a guy that I'd met who's from the Central Coast, and we just realised that we're around the same age bracket, and we know heaps of people together, and we have we'll just kind of going over a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to that. And we have a lot of mutual friends from all over the coast, like from Queensland down this way. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you know this person? Yeah. You know that person? Yeah. And he's like, oh, I went to Coffs Harbour and we did this thing. And I was like, I know you're talking about. You were working with this person and that. And he's like, yeah. Like, yeah. That's how it works.
It's all connected, man.
It is.
Connected.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It seems like Newcastle is a very connected place. Like they talk about six degrees of separation, but finding that it's a bit closer than that, like everyone kind of knows everyone up here to some degree. Do you think the same?
To 6 degrees. Yeah.
I think it's like 4 degrees.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's well, I guess that comes from it's the it's the second biggest city that's not a capital in Australia.
Yeah.
First biggest is Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's big enough to do some things, but it's also small enough that you know a lot of people. You spend some time in the one space, you're gonna, and especially with what I do, where I meet a lot of people in either from 5 all the way up. So the age group of people that I deal with on a daily basis is like 5 through to 55. So there's this huge age gap. And with also I work in a pub and people growing and coming through, like these relationships get reborn and rebirthed in a different light. And I can also use my that time and space to help people with substance as well. So I've come across when I do come into people partying, and because I'm still, you know, actively out at bars and things like that with working at a pub and stuff, and then ended up having drinks with them after or whatever, helping them learn to regulate what they're taking from just starting to experiment with those things. So, and because I already have this this presence with them where I hold a trust, that where I'm not an authority figure, like I'm not a teacher, I'm not a parent, I'm not a cop, I'm not anything like that. They'll listen. Gotcha. Because they know that I'm only coming from a place of love and caring.
So you sort of, just to recap that, you're sort of saying that when you're able to more identify ones that may be having problems with it.
Yes, 100%.
And you subtly advise them because you've seen the patterns.
Yeah. Just talk to them about what they're doing, how it affects their brain, what it will do later on in life, what I've seen it happen to so many people, and a way to keep it safe.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and to not, because substance abuse can really, really like mess you up and make life harder.
Yeah, and I also find that like you can get away with it in 20s and even 30s, but I find as time goes on, the real effects of it start to hit people in their late 30s, early 40s, and then that's where that's when it really leads to very poor mental health or self-harm and things like that. That's what I've noticed.
So what you've got there is also with females, they're starting to get towards the menopause stage, and males are having their drop in testosterone. So they're also losing, you know, that oomph. The key stuff with substance abuse, if that gets to you before that prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of the brain, is fully developed. Yeah. Because once all your stuff's off, then later on it's going to cause a lot of problems. So it's getting anything that if the abuse happens in those early 20s, like teens through 20s, when people are experimenting, that's going to have that huge dramatic effect later on. If you're starting to play with it when you get in your 30s or when you're starting to make decisions, not as bad.
Oh, interesting. So, yeah, like, okay. So if they delay their use of it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Wait until the brain has developed more.
Well, if you look here in Australia, we say 18 to drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I bet people are using alcohol and that from younger. Where you look at other countries like America where it's like 21 to drink. Well, people aren't even starting to experiment with alcohol till they're 18.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Over here, everyone's doing it from like 14, 13. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had my first drink at 11.
I'm a first drink at 12.
Yeah, my parents know that. It's nothing hidden. And it's what you're exposed to because these brackets are younger. We're also a country made from the rough of the rough. When they first started it, they just shipped a bunch of convicts over here. A bunch of the bad people.
And the culture was, brought over. The drinking culture was, brought over from, I guess the first settlers and England, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's still been a big part of our identity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, when you've been to the States a fair bit.
Yeah, we're Aussies. We're drinkers.
I was going to say, like, did people identify that? Because when I went there, it's like, oh, you're Aussie. And I could actually out-drink a lot of people.
Everyone's drinking light beers.
Yeah. And they'd be like, no way, man, you're a machine. I'm like, that's what we do. But in hindsight, I don't know. I'm not proud of that.
I'm not a huge drinker, of beer. I don't drink beer.
Okay.
And going to when I did move to the States and going over there, a bunch of people were like, oh, here's a beer, mate. And I'm like, nah.
Stereotype.
Yeah. And then they're like, what do you mean? I come from a family of beer drinkers and I've been there, black sheep forever. If I don't like the taste, I'm not going to drink it. Just how I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not like worried you'll get ridiculed for it?
Not at all. It's like
Interesting.
It's not about other people. It's about what I like.
That shows strong character.
I've been like that the whole time.
Even as a kid.
I've always been me.
Just like I'm doing it my way.
Mm-hmm.
Respect.
That's why I haven't fallen into just doing what others do.
Even now?
Yeah. At one point in my life, the way that my mind was working with skate tricks and that is I would learn something and think, all right, I've got this, and have a trick down solid. And then that trick will gain in popularity, and then I'd stop doing that trick because I'm like, too many people are doing it.
Yeah.
If too many people are doing and that's how against the grain you would say that I would go.
You didn't want to follow the crowd.
Not at all.
Lead.
Well, just do me.
Ooh. But usually those people inadvertently become leaders.
Essentially.
Have you ever been described as a leader?
Multiple times.
Really?
Yeah.
By who?
At the moment, I'm the sports leader of Lake Macquarie.
What does that mean?
It means out of all the sports, they saw me as the one that's doing the most and for my community and that. So
can you tell us about that award?
Yeah.
So if you don't mind.
It's coming up again, actually, in 2 weeks. It's just a recognition, they recognize that you've been doing a lot within your community and for your sport. And they look across all sports. So whether it's football, soccer, the whole lot. And then they pick certain individuals who are then finalists, and then they go through all that and do that. So for skateboarding, it was a first here in Australia. And then I was also mentioned in Parliament by the Speaker of the House. And that was the first in skateboarding here in Australia.
Specifically for the skate clinics or for your judging?
It's for all of it. So it's everything that you do together.
Okay.
So when the Speaker of the House would speak for the people, like back when there was kings and queens type of deal, that's how you would get knights from your community.
Yeah.
You would be, like you said, a leader in that thing. So through your, what you did, then held merit, then you'd get knighted, like how you got Sir Elton John, Sir Paul McCartney, those guys for their contribution to music.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So cool. It's good. I mean, how does it make you feel when you get awards like that?
I got
validated?
I just went along for the dinner. I didn't think I was going to win at all. When I'm up there for 30 seconds on stage, like everyone spends like 25 minutes talking about their things, and I was not ready. And then when
wait up. You knew you were a finalist.
Yeah.
but went there just thinking, there's no way I'm going to win this.
Always.
So I didn't prepare a speech.
Not at all. I get up there, I'm like, thanks for this. I have nothing prepared whatsoever. Have a good night.
Nice.
And then just, yeah.
Cool.
It's not ready at all.
Yeah.
And, then I received a certificate in the mail talking about, like, being mentioned in Parliament. You know, it's all, like, stamped and blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's somewhere. My mum will probably frame it.
Can you tell us how you got into the judging, skate judging?
Yeah. So I have travelled around many different countries competing. A lot of the time, just either go there or be sent there from my sponsors, not even with my name down on the event, just showing up. And there was this guy, it was like one of the runners of World Cup skateboarding, Sasha Steinhaus, rest in peace. And he had a lot to do with every major event for about 25 years. So when it comes to events, he played a part in many people's lives and careers. And after a bit, he would see me and go like, Russ, like, I've got so many people here that are down on the list. I want you to be in it. And eventually he would get me in. And I'd be like, thankful. And if he would notice that if I wasn't at my event, I would be on the platform of, the Vert or something else, where if in every contest I've ever gone to, if you're, someone who's in the street comp, you're just watching the street. And then you're going off and skating the street or doing other activities afterwards because you're getting your thing done. And then you're going and doing your thing, where I just love all forms of skateboarding. I'd be on platforms every time. So when I'd moved back to Australia and Sasha had come over here and they were doing the Extreme Bowl Riding Championships and Bowl-O-Rama and things like that. And Sasha came up to me one day and goes, can I try you judging? And with a bowl contest, which is out of my discipline, really.
Yeah. Well, at Bowl-O-Rama.
Oh, ABC.
Oh, ABC first.
He started here first.
Yeah.
And he gave me there was like a bigger panel then, so he was doing it so he could stick with his originals if he needed to.
Gotcha.
And then just had me in there and separated us all around the bowl. First, the only time actually, where a panel that I've been a part of hasn't been sitting anywhere near each other.
Right.
And everyone had their spaces and just gave me an idea of what I got to do and then said go for it. And then he judged the finals as well. And then afterwards, he got all the papers out and put them next to each other. And with his background and that, I was nearly exactly the same scores as him, closer than anyone else. And he's just like, you have a natural gift to do this. Can I use you for Bowl-O-Rama next week?
Sick.
And then from then on, did every major event coming here to Australia with X Games and all that stuff up until Then it rolled over into people, got you got accredited for World Skate, and then World Skate looked at things, they judged character, and they're like, we like what you're about and see what you do, and yeah.
Wow.
I'm really good at, everyone's my friend and no one's my enemy, and I'm not going to score someone higher because they did this the night before or I'm better friends with them or something like that. Really good at just keeping it to what it is, the skateboarding.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Stressful at times?
Not at all.
I'm laughing because I'm like, I knew you were going to say that. Surely. There must be. No? Even at the bigger events where there's a lot at stake?
Yeah, there's just more people, so you got to make sure that you got that's 250 people in the right order.
Okay.
But no, everything I do, I'm happy with it, and I do it with it being what I feel is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you stand by that?
You got to.
I respect that. It's really nice.
I sit there and I've definitely spoke to, when you come to a tie, you have to split a tie. And like I'll listen to the other judges and think about what they have to say, look at their notes, cross it with mine, and we come to a good thing together. And sometimes I do go with them because I don't have this this over dominance for anything like that. I'm happy to listen to everyone and hear what they have to say, and we can bounce off each other. I don't have to sit there and demand I'm right every time.
Okay.
Because you're not always correct.
Yeah, okay. So you're a team player, collaborator.
Yeah, you've got to.
Do you like judging when Ty's one of the judges? Ty Colling?
I love Ty.
He's a very likeable guy.
He's great. He's such a nice guy.
He said he's a better judge than you.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that.
Yeah, because he's not that type of person.
That's what I mean. It's not the last thing Ty would ever say.
Yeah. And he's
just trying to put shit on him.
No, Ty's great. He's been a good friend and looked up to him for a very long time. He's helped me out in many scenarios, and I've been there for him with others as well.
Yeah, cool, man. What a great thing to be involved with. Like, where has the judging taken you though? Like, obviously the big Australian events. Has it ever taken you overseas?
Yeah, I went to Rome. That was fun.
What?
Yeah.
Was it X Games?
No, that was World Skating for the Olympics.
How was it?
It was fun.
Good times?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I went there for like 10 days. It was great.
So there's more judging in the future?
There is.
Any events coming up?
When's my next one? I wouldn't have a clue. Sometimes people, I think in April, there's a contest in Coffs Harbour. It's it's going to be a quite large street contest. I think there's like $10,000 or $15,000 up for grabs.
Okay. Nice. At the Coffs Harbour skate park?
Yeah, they're going to build extra obstacles and stuff.
Are they? I was going to say, because I skated it recently. Yeah, it's sick. Actually, about a month ago, I skated it. It's good.
Yeah, and there's going to be like Hubbard's going down the big section and a couple other things I don't want to put out there.
Yeah, cool.
Put out a surprise, but yeah, it's going to go all out and do a good thing.
Yeah. So when you're at a different venue, like if it's a street course and it's a different skate park, like do you all get together at the start and go, look, anything done down this obstacle, like say it's the big hubber, like that's going to get scored up higher?
I instantly know.
But you don't discuss it with each other and have a common grading system, like you all agree that a trick on that ledge is going to be worth more than that, or is it's just expected that with your experience you understand?
I think it comes to that, because like you shouldn't be on the panel if you're doubting yourself.
Okay.
Because if you're doubting what you're doing, then you're going to have a lot of troubles down there, when it comes to finals or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm going to hit you with one. What's worth more, a flip-in trick or a flip-out trick?
So that comes down to how it's done, what it's done on,
okay,
and all sorts of things. So
there's not a common agreement that a flip-in trick is harder than flipping out.
No, well.
Depends.
Well, yeah, because I guess if you're doing a back nose one, kickflip, back nose one, nollie flip. Yeah. Flip outs are going to be harder. Yeah,
you think flip outs are harder than flip in generally?
Yeah.
Like I said, it does vary.
Yeah.
From obstacle to obstacle, but I'm just curious.
And I'm trying to think of like what there would be the where a flip in would be harder than a flip out.
Like I know, like on a rail. So I was went to Street League.
Even on the ledge, think about it.
Ledge, but like at Street League, for example, Chloe Clavel did a 50-50 kickflip out off a handrail. Now,
round rail, yeah.
A round handrail, which like, I mean, God, that's
which is
hard.
gnarly.
Yeah.
You don't even see that in the men's. And it's not because it's like easy. It's because it's hard.
It's so hard. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I did a kickflip out of a 50-50 on an ankle high ledge. It took me 30 shots. But anyway. But yeah, so, and me and my friend got into a debate over, is flipping out of a 50-50 on a rail more difficult than, say, doing kickflip backside nose, like kickflip blunt slide, frontside blunt slide down.
Well, you're changing all the tricks there, aren't you?
Yeah.
You would have to, the only way you could do it is by going kickflip 50.
And the point I want to make is like, damn, like judging must be hard. Dude, I don't know if I'd be any good at it.
Oh, it's not that hard.
I just feel like not much is hard for you in terms of like your approach. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're sitting there and like dwelling on things, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, you got to have confidence in what you do.
Have you got any like standout up and coming Australian skateboarders that you find interesting?
Oh,
Any prospects that you've been fairly impressed by?
I'm impressed by anyone, really, that's doing their things. Like Rome's doing great.
Who?
Rome Collier.
Okay.
He's doing good. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, so he's doing good things. You know, then. Yeah, there's.
Are you reluctant to name names because you want to stay subjective?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't put you on that spot then.
Yeah, because it's just like.
Yeah.
But seeing the development of him's been great. You know, from being in Newcastle from such a young age to what he's done with these things. It's great to view it from externally. The other people, I guess, they just see him when they're already coming into their legs. You know what I mean? So you don't actually see the development. So it's good to watch. I watch from afar these days.
Cool.
I don't get too involved. It's part of the judging aspect of it. You got to. That's what makes it very the most difficult part of judging is the fact that you have to disconnect from your friends because you can't be so involved in their lives.
You have to consciously not. So you're saying it is affecting your friendships because
you can't keep them that close anymore if they're competing.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like because when you're on that world scale, because if someone from one country A sees you talking to someone from country B, then they're automatically like, all right, there's a relationship there, and that person was getting scored higher than ours, and we want an investigation on how. And yeah, you get ran through the hole, you get put over there.
Like a conflict of interest.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel like that can go the other way where someone wants to make a point of like not giving favoritism, so they mark their friend harder. You know, that can happen too.
Yeah, I've seen people do that with their children in events.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to judge Floyd one time in his first comp. And I was like, guys, I think this one he got last, but still.
Did he deserve last?
He did.
Okay.
He was in the under 12s or something. He was like 8.
Okay.
And every other kid could do a lot more than him. But he was out there having fun.
Yeah.
When I asked him how well do you think he did, he's like, I reckon I got 3rd.
Yeah.
It's like, bless you.
I'll ask you maybe an easy one to answer that's less political. Who were some Australian skateboarders that had an influence on your skating back in the day?
Oh, Jeff Williams, Michael Davidson.
I love that you said skunk.
Yeah, straight up. All-terrain killer. Still, you watch the stuff that he did 20 years ago, and it's par with what's going on.
Still relevant, hey?
Yeah, still relevant. He would do it on a Veramp. He would do it on a handrail. He would do it on a ledge. And people don't realize how crazy that is. Like how amazing that someone that can do massive frontside heel flippers and then being able to do switch backside flips down a big block 4.
Yep.
And then
or flip in and out of rail tricks.
Switch frontside 360 style fishes on 6 foot half pipes that are like 5 foot in the air. They're like, come on, guys.
And just such a down to earth guy, you know. He really was like had time for everyone. He's current.
Yeah. He's relevant.
He's very. I shouldn't have said he's like was. He is, and just like not overly chasing any spotlight. Just a hard-working lover of skateboarding, and it was so obvious. And Ty recently on one of his vlogs for Flowskate put up the old Juice video from 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually
Flick of the switch?
Yeah. Yeah, no. V2. Yeah.
Okay.
And I rewatched it just for, some memorabilia and some nostalgia. And yeah, I was just Skunk's part. I was just like, yeah, it's as relevant, and his style in the streets and everything was just insane.
Yeah, he's got his style.
Yeah. So, but like, how some vert skaters, they get like vert legs in street. They call it's known. It's like you can tell they're a vert skater in the street because vert, it's sort of like a light touch kind of floaty. And but he somehow could just differentiate, just go, okay, I'm in the streets. Street pop. I'm in vert. I'm in vert. Boom. Vert pop. Like, it's just. Like,
then you had people like Spin, Dave Bodner, riding 52 mil wheels and vert, doing nollie front heels.
Is he someone else that you regard as an influence on you?
Oh, he's just a guy that primarily skated the vert, but then would do street tricks like Colin McKay type of deal in those moments. I wouldn't say he was. I guess everyone's an influence, aren't they? If you get into what they do and watch it and see how they are.
But whose skating was like speaking to you, like none. Like
what's that?
No, whose skating was sorry?
Skunk.
Skunk mainly. Yeah, Skunk, Davo.
Yeah. Like so, you'll see the class crew when you go to the city.
Yeah.
Because I'm in Morisset, so. Jumping on the train, hour and 39 minutes was your express to Sydney, and 37 minutes to Gosford, and 39 or something like that to Newcastle. These are the express ones.
It's funny, you know the exact times.
I had to.
How many trips do you reckon you did from Morisset to Newcastle?
I think I have about 2,500 train tickets.
No, and you kept those train tickets?
I did. They're in chronological order as well.
What do you love about the Newcastle skate scene?
The weather.
It's good, isn't it? It's warm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love everything about it. Everything that's going on. It's great.
You've seen it evolve over the years.
Yeah, I've seen everything change.
And how do you feel it is in present day?
It's great.
Do you like where it's evolved to?
Thriving.
Thriving?
Yes.
Do you feel like there's something in the water up here?
100%.
Why?
It's just what's going on. I think it's where there is a couple of clicks, but it's not too clicky. When you start to get more people start to create these little groups and they don't mesh and mold together, where we're just small enough to talk to one another.
Keep egos in check?
Yeah. They still exist, egos. But yeah, it's just I guess there's not too many people skating. So it's these are the people I'm skating with, you know what I mean? When there's an abundance, then yeah, I guess that there's less people hanging out. You go to some Sydney parks and you'll see multiple groups of people at the park where they're not hanging out. Where if you go to a park here, you'll kind of see everyone's putting their stuff in the same spot. And
everyone will say hello, although at least most of the time they'll acknowledge you. Yeah. Just even if they don't know you, give you the heads up. I mean, those Sydney parks, man,
just more people
just heads down.
Yeah, headphones in.
If they don't know you, it's you're just not there.
Yeah.
So I do like that aspect of it up here. You'll get a nod if you're not being a complete fuckwit.
Even on the street, even if you're just someone cruising by on the skateboard. Yeah. That's how I grew up. You would see someone and they would be instantly your friend because they're a skateboarder.
Is that getting lost? A little bit.
100%.
Do you think skating's mainstream now?
Yeah, well, as soon as it hit the runways, yeah, I guess. You can't get any more mainstream than that, can you? When you've got, pro skate athletes doing Louis Vuitton walks and turns.
Sponsorships with Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, got sponsorship. Oh, there's a few, but then there's
Louis
also...
Vuitton? I didn't know that.
There's a few people, yeah. I can't name off the top of my head, but there's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there's also just like the models of some pro skaters that are doing the runway walks that aren't necessarily sponsored by them, but paid to go and do that.
Like male modelling.
Yeah. Because they're like, I like your look.
Guess you got to take the opportunities when they come while you can.
Pharrell is like their head designer right now.
For Louis Vuitton,
Yeah. Yeah, now Virgil's passed.
would you say yes to a Louis Vuitton sponsorship?
Yeah. Of course.
Thanks for being honest.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's it was quality product.
Do you find it funny how skaters who get those big money sponsorships from mainstream brands or brands that aren't necessarily linked to skateboarding originally? Give me your perspective on that.
I worked at Billabong for 12 years. And, that was surf culture. And at the time I was, I just say yes to a lot of things. And the way that I saw it was like an Australian company, Awesome. At the time, I used to only wear Juice clothing. I used to only wear Globe shoes. I used to, ride XEN boards. At one point, I was even, what were those trucks that Chad Barty had? That company started with D.
I'm having a mental blank.
Yeah, and then I rode like
draft
wheels.
They didn't go, not Dark Star.
No. What was it called? You know what I'm talking about, though? You know what I'm saying? I was even riding them. I was like fully supporting Australian skateboarding prior to getting sponsorship.
If you're out there and you remember the name of those trucks, DM me.
Defiant.
There you go.
There we go.
So, like, why were you riding those brands? Were you getting for free?
No.
Or was just because...
I was buying them.
Okay.
Buying my Juice clothes and doing all that stuff.
Because you liked it.
Yeah. I was grown up with, you buy Australian made. You support, local.
But going back to the sponsorship thing, like...
So I rode for Billabong.
Billabong. Was it a matter of like...
Or was it a demo?
Was it just like, hey, it means that I can just skate. This is giving me an opportunity to skate more. You weren't really concerned about its background as a brand?
No, I didn't. I didn't think of the background as a brand. I didn't look at skating that way. This was just before I turned 18. So it's only a couple of years into skating. I didn't have this mindset of all that. I wasn't chasing the dream that many chase. I was just skating, had an opportunity, and then took it. And it was contracts and them sending me. I didn't my parents had they bought a place in the 80s, like on the water. And with being one of 4 kids, my parents did their best for us to have, enough.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So when it come to extra things, didn't always have the money. When I was coming up to my schoolies and everyone was going to Goldie and I wasn't, because I wouldn't say any money that I was buying using was going to a deck or something at the time.
Yeah.
Some pair of shoes. I wasn't going on that end of year trip. Got on Billabong just before, and then I went and did my schoolies with Bucky Lassick, Ben and Tuss Papas, Ali Khans, just 10 days on the Gold Coast. I would do 1 demo at Pizzy and 5-star first class the whole way. It was amazing. I got thrown, went from the bush to the deep end, like just with the top. Yeah, best of the best at the time, and it was.
Did you feel like you fit with the other team riders?
I was just a kid.
Was there any intimidation?
Not at all. Everyone was just.
You weren't nervous?
No.
You had to prove yourself?
No, because I wasn't buying the American mags. I didn't watch those type of things. I didn't know who half of them were when I met them. I'm just on this trip with them, and I ended up watching them skate on. That's crazy. And then, drinking with them and spending every moment.
But you knew who Ben and Tuss were?
Not heaps.
Okay.
No. I knew of them, but I didn't know of the XYZ videos. I didn't know the history. So I actually got to know them as people before I got to know their skate past.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They probably felt that too, that you were coming from a more authentic place with your relationship maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, I used to fan out on those guys,
I can imagine.
you know.
I still try and I over the years I tried to stay away from those people that I kept up there.
Okay.
Because I didn't want meeting them to ruin the experience of having a skate hero. And some PJ Ladd I looked up to a lot. He was Wonderful and Horrible Life. I watched it that many times, can't even imagine. And every little revert and the 270 outs and that, I just thought it was the best. It was so different to everything. Frontside tail slide, frontside 270 kickflip on a ledge, like a low ledge. Like, still, it's fucked. And there was one time when I'd moved to San Diego and staying with my friend Rob. We used to go to the DC ramp a bunch, like the vert ramp.
Yeah.
And this one time I was skating the street because they were all vert guys. And I saw this like Plan B PJ Ladd like board on the ground. I was like, oh yeah. And here I was just skating flat ground doing my thing. And then I hear a board flip over. I look over and this PJ Ladd, he just does a tray flip. And then he disappears again. And I was like, oh, so glad I didn't meet him.
Why?
Because I didn't want to lose this thing of holding him up here. And then a couple of years later, decade later, so I don't know. What was it? It was New Balance when they come to Sydney, and I went down to see Marius Venon and Tyler Suri, to my close friends. Say hi to them while they're in Australia.
Yeah.
Got them to meet Floyd, and Sunday was still baking at the time. And I did what I could to, because PJ's on the trip, and did what I could to kind of not bounce into him, It gets like 2 days in or something. And I'm there talking to the filmer who I knew from San Diego, Russell. And Russell Horton. And just talking to him, and then PJ pops up next to us. He's like, hey, PJ. And I was like, oh, shit. Hi. Russell. How are you? Yeah, but it was cool. It was good.
That's cool.
He didn't ruin it for me.
Who were some other, like, foreign skaters? You mentioned some Australian skaters that you really liked, but who were some foreign ones aside from PJ that you always really liked?
I think a go-to for everyone's Costin as well, because, like, innovative. He also, he's a likable person. He's got that good energy. If you have a problem with anything that he's doing, I suggest you look within yourself. And
it's your problem.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just so many. I don't know, I just come across them over the years. And a lot of my favourite skaters are actually dudes that I'm really good friends with, known for a long time. Yeah.
Like, you stay in contact regularly and things like that?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, where it's like FaceTime phone calls or, just messages.
Yeah, sometimes I struggle with younger crew trying to explain the significance of certain skaters, because they some of them can go back and look at footage of Costin, and go, oh, well, everyone's doing those tricks these days, but they don't understand, like, the era they were being done and the significance of the time that these things were being done, I think.
Exactly. Less people doing it, and these tricks had never been done before.
Never been done before.
Yeah, never even, like, it's not now that people are building off what was done. These weren't even done yet. These were first discovered.
Exactly.
So it's a different thing altogether. It's not like, oh, that's just a K grind. That's a K grind because it's a Costin grind.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't even think of that. Yeah, like pioneer stuff. And, oh, man, I was talking, like, it trips me out. Like, there's kids these days who don't even know who Danny Way is. I'm like, what? It trips me out. Like, am I that old?
Yeah, then you just get them watch those old videos and they're just like, wow, I didn't realise people were doing those tricks back then too.
Yeah. But that's what's happening with skating. Like you were saying that, coach kids from 5 to 55. And,
Oh, not just that's the community that I'm a part of. It's not like I'm
Okay,
coaching them.
sorry.
I don't actively do the coaching.
Sorry.
I have coaches that do that stuff for us for our events and things like that. So I try to actually distance myself from doing that side of skating myself. I show them how to coach
Gotcha.
and teach them what to do and what to look for. And then like with getting people and trying to give people that first role, like getting them to, do their own research on developing those skills. Like they shouldn't look at me to, what do I do next? It's like, well, people go to school for this if you really want it.
Yeah. But I guess, maybe interacting with people from that age range, and it just, we're at this stage with skateboarding where it has a really deep history now. It's not a new thing. Like it's got really deep, significant cultural history. And I think it's an interesting time. It really is. It's exciting, actually.
Yeah, forever evolving. That's why we still love it, is because you think you know what's going on, then you realise you don't.
It's so true.
But that's life as well. That's why life's interesting. Yeah. It's like you
But, I mean, how do you deal with change?
embrace.
How do you deal with change in skateboarding?
Embrace.
Like, okay, so let's say there's a trend in skateboarding.
I don't do trends.
I know, but like, let's say you see a trend emerging in skateboarding, even though you got nothing to do with it, as now like an elder statesman. How do you deal with that? Do you just sit back at the skate park and whinge about it to everyone?
98% of the times that trend was around 25 years ago.
It's so true. Like, okay, do you trip out like on baggy jeans? Like, I know
I'm
you
wearing some.
but I see you wear baggy jeans. I'm going, and I think, well, he hasn't stopped wearing baggy jeans since the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But then I see like these new kids coming through with super baggy jeans, and like they think they're all fresh and new, and I'm like, I was wearing like jeans we got from St. Vinny's that were like
just too big.
30, like 6 sizes too big. Like I was a size 28 and I'm buying 36s, and I'm just pulling the waist in and it's all bunched up and then cutting the bottoms off.
Yep.
And Kepper jeans and shit like that. But
Yeah. Half
Anyway.
of mine were like hand-me-downs from my older brother and my dad.
yeah.
And then that's essentially where big pants come from me. Was I didn't necessarily have like where they are now made big. They were like what you're saying, just bigger pants that you pull in, and it come from you instead of worrying about the new pants, just getting a board when mine was all chipped up and I had these little square ass tails. Like you never see the little tails anymore. You don't see people reshaping their boards. You definitely don't see people re-gripping their boards. If they've got like 2 or 3 chips on it, they're like, oh yeah, it's done. It's like, mate, mine was about 2 inches long at one point.
Because you just keep like they're giving it new lease on life by sanding it down.
Yeah,
and
taking it to woodwork at school, going in there and at lunch.
sanding belt.
Yeah, you know it. Disc sander, all the things.
Yeah. Crazy, man. There's actually, like, speaking of skate fashion, though, I was in Sydney recently and I was at Tech Park, and like these really good sort of cool young new skaters came in. When I say young, they're in the mid-20s, so it's young to me. And they're all ripping. But this new fashion, like they had baggy jeans on, but short T-shirts. So the T-shirts were cut. You know how we wear baggy shirts?
Almost like a mid-drift.
Yeah, like they'd cut them off at the waist. Does that make sense? So
They
like
can
my
show
T-shirt,
their belt and their keys.
yeah. It was like so the shirt was like, my shirts will go over my sort of ass pretty much,
I think that might be a thing.
But they were deliberately cut.
Stop restricting. It would be less restrictive, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know if it was for
That's
function.
why I wear big shirts, because they're less restrictive.
Can move, yeah. And it's like, I don't know if they were cut for function or fashion. I'm pretty sure it was for fashion.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's different. I don't know if that's 90s inspired because...
So more 80s inspired.
Maybe.
It's like crossing the 80s and the 90s together.
See, the kids are coming up with new shit.
Yeah.
How old does that sound, eh?
Very.
Fuck.
Yeah, but that's life.
That is...
That's Hosoi and Stevie Williams. Just mash them together.
What do you mean? What
Sort
was
of, you know
Stevie?
how he'd wear like
Yeah.
just big pants. Stevie big
He
pants.
was big pants, hey.
And then, you know,
Skated with his shirt off a lot.
yeah, but then like you're talking about Hasui with the cut shirts.
Remember, and like also remember that fashion of like your boxers were hanging out at the top of your pants. Like your pants, like there's baggy and then there's saggy.
Yeah.
You know, like so saggy is when like your pants hang real low and your boxers are out the top. You know, I was watching Gifted. Have you heard of Gifted Hater?
Of
On
course.
YouTube. He was talking about how like, fuck, he's so funny, man. He kills me, that guy. But he was talking about how they need to. He's saying like saggy's cooler than baggy, and then you need to sew. They need to create jeans.
Oh no! I actually had seen a pair of those before. But the boxes,
But the
sewn
boxes
to
are
the
the
pants.
boxes are sewn to the pants, so you
Yeah.
got the look, but then the functionality.
That's a thing. So I don't. But I guess the gifted hater would probably be too young to know that was a thing. That was
Maybe.
a thing at one point. Yeah.
He does make some good observations, though. That guy.
Yeah. But then he's not, and he's just regurgitating something that was actually like something you could purchase at a point in time.
They were around, were they?
Yeah.
Ah, because I thought they might have been actually.
They were.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like skating in Newcastle, like, you know, because street skating was your thing. Like, did you have any favourite spots around Newcastle that you'd frequent?
I would just skate wherever, and a lot of things. Well, frequent. There was this like ledge manual pad that was outside of the hospital. That's our apartments. And it
Okay.
would start off like, you know, around 10 centimeters, and then drop off about 60 centimeters. So we just like the hill would drop down. That was fun. It was a tiled thing. You could grind the inside of it, because the outside was really chipped up. But yeah, it was a fun thing. It wasn't that far from the skate park.
Like, you know how Civic Plaza's kind of like a bit of a meeting spot, the place,
I wasn't part of the clicky ones, so me and my friends
admin building and stuff like that?
would skate it sometimes, but you would see a lot of people that were like, yeah.
Okay.
They were very rounded by the time that I was skating.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like you could see that they had a life before, I was doing what I was doing in the late 90s,
Okay.
around 97.
Yeah, okay. Just hitting the streets, like still searching out spots and stuff though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
nice.
yeah. I'm just trying to think of all the things. And plus, like, the school's down my way. We've got a fair few spots as well. And there was a lot of school hunting through things. Anywhere that was close to a train station.
Exactly, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. No mobile phones to film every single thing you did.
Not at all. Like my career, we didn't even have a camera.
Was there times where never, like, every now and then you'd get a camera? Like, were you trying to document?
No, not really. It didn't matter. I don't know. The only time that I started shooting photos when I started getting paid to do it. Started filming when it become part of like the job. Do you know what I mean? There's a couple of like, little camera photos from back in the day that a mate might be like, oh, I'm bringing my camera today, or bring mum's camera or whatever. And then one friend did have a handy cam that we used for like a couple of weeks. I don't know where that footage lies these days, but that was mainly backyard stuff. A little skate park in my backyard. My parents they were going to build a house down the back. Well, they've built a house now, and they had a concrete slab that was there. And Dad, instead of wanting to buy a big boat, he bought the molds to do a big boat, he could build it.
Right.
And we ended up using these molds and just chalking them up with bricks and things like that to create ramps. And then after a few years, I'd have a bunch of mates who would come over. We'd have these little flat bars and that made out of trampoline sides and whatnot. And then just in the next area across Cooranbong, the kids who went to that school for year 12 and 10, they built skate obstacles for their major works. And they had them in a cul-de-sac called the Sack. And I'd only ever skated there once. A couple of quarter pipes, ledges and all that stuff. And one day, come home from school, and my whole backyard was like a skate park because the council told them they had to get rid of the ramps, otherwise they were going to destroy them. And then I had 30 kids over my house every day.
Sick.
Yeah, that
Like
was.
a DIY in your backyard.
Well, they were really well made ramps. Like one was actually made out of fiberglass. Like it was slippery as shit in the rain. But actually built quite well because it was a expensive school to go to.
Yep.
So it was like, I think it was $10,000 a semester or a term or something. Really high education, but they got to do whatever they wanted to with their mind. And so they all built the skate stuff, and then it just ended up in my backyard.
Were your parents supportive of that?
They were, until we got a local skate park, and then they're like, it's going to have to go. But because they had nowhere else to go. They were like, it's better that everyone comes here. We had neighbours complain. We had real estates coming to us going like, hey, some of our tenants are complaining because we live on the water, so the banging of the boards who travel across the water to the houses all around and that.
Oh.
And it would just echo through the space. But so what could you do?
Yeah.
Like, there's a shop next door that's thrived because there was people buying chips and drinks and lollies all day, like all afternoon. My parents got a bit upset when, because before we got local park, I was already travelling, and people were just going to my house, and I wasn't there.
So they were
like, it's not the best. There was a couple broken arms and things, but yeah.
That's a common one when someone has a ramp at their house and everyone knows about it. Yeah, they come over when you're not there and it gets weird.
Well, before that, what a couple of mates used to do is, because the area was full of holiday houses for people from Sydney before it got developed and things, and they would use the carports and all that of people's holiday houses and build little skate parks in there for their driveways and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So there was a couple of those that you would go around to, around to this area and skate this house that gets used twice a year.
No way.
Things like that, yeah.
That's so sick.
It's some good things. And it's just like, that's what you had to do when there's a bit more bush.
Yeah. Improvise.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you surf?
No, I've got a surfboard.
Have you ever been periods of being into it?
I got into bodyboarding, but that's not surfing. And like, because I was used to just getting towed behind boats and things like that, so I have a good relationship with still water. The beach, just never really got into it.
Not your thing.
Yeah, I worked at Slime's board store when it first opened here in town, and Mark Richards made me a surfboard, and I used it a handful of times. It's still new. I've had it for like a decade, probably longer. Wait, 13 years.
Twin fin? You wouldn't know.
Tri-fin,
Okay.
yeah.
Swallowtail, I bet. You know what the swallowtail is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's a fish.
Like
fish
a fish.
shape. Yeah. It's so I know a lot about surfing. By Mick Adams, who's there, is MR's best friend and worked in surf retail since the beginning of time. And I learnt about board shapes, wave shapes, everything that you could about how it all works. And people would come in who've been surfing for 40, 50 years and things and say, I want to get a new surfboard, and I would ask them the questions and going off leaderage and what my knowledge, and then go, I think this would be a good choice.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back going, this is the best board I've ever had. And right there, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, this is wrong. Like, they're having great times, which is awesome, but like, it's not right. So I opened my own skate shop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. That was what the inspiration, because you were feeling a bit like, don't want to mislead people.
Yeah, it's just like, it wasn't right. Yeah. Like, they were getting what they wanted out of it and that. Yeah. It's just like, mine was just a calculation. I guess it's how someone would work when they work at Zoomies or something like that. They get told their requirements. Yeah. But, yeah, and it's just whatever. But the skaters usually know exactly what they want anyway.
Yeah, that's so true.
Where surfers are still open to, there's so many different board shapes and things.
Yeah, there's like lots of detail and dimensions and sizes.
And rails.
Rail size and shape and
Yeah, it's quite
and
gnarly.
like the other thing that's gnarly about it is it's a big purchase. So like that's
$1,500 or
well,
something.
I mean, $1,000, but like up to $1,500, and it's like so. I guess
when you add like fins and pads and your leg rope and all that, you're always up around that $1,500.
Yeah. Whereas like with skateboarding, it's like, okay, look, if someone there's not a lot of variation in shapes and sizes, and if someone does purchase the wrong board, it's not as consequential as like $1,000, $1,500.
10%.
Yeah. It's like $100, So.
That's it. So it's a different sort of thing. Less stress on providing them that.
Yeah, man.
There was a couple of times when with my shop, and kids would come in and want the best of the best, and I would talk them down from it.
Okay.
Because it's not about the sale. It's about like, this is what's going to work best for your skill level now. I'm not trying to capitalize off you.
Right.
Yeah.
Where did that shop open the first time?
In Warners Bay, inside Playgrounds Park.
Okay.
Yeah, indoor skate park that was built out there by a guy named James Mansfield.
Yeah.
He worked for Woodward in America for a bit doing the snow stuff, and he's from like out here.
Okay.
And he just wanted to bring that energy here and do it. He did a great thing, and without him, like things thrived. We had a lot of people that come through. They're still around today and developed a lot of skill and had a lot of fun, enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And like, was it overall? Did it flourish for a while? Like,
yeah.
Well, and then popularity died down.
No. The logistics of the rent was doubling, and then we were reopening somewhere, and then we got involved with another company to move forward on a bigger facility at Lambie Care to do a place called Rushfields.
Okay.
And COVID stopped that, but now it's back in the pipeline again, and we're talking about
every time.
Oh, birds are beautiful. It's a good sound.
No, like COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the birds are beautiful.
Yeah, I just thought you meant that sound.
No, sometimes, actually on a tangent, sometimes in the podcast you get some beautiful native birds making sounds, and I've had some American listeners reach out to me going, oh my God. Well, they message me and DM me and go.
That was rainbow lorikeets?
Yeah, they're like, those birds sound so cool. It just sounds like the essence of Australia. And like, but we take those sounds for granted because we're so used to them.
I leave my window open so I can hear them, like wake up to them. I wake up to a tree full of lorikeets and I'm like, yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I'm going back to sleep now.
So, sorry to divert you away from your story. Right. You were talking about how COVID kind of
it just
made it difficult.
Yeah, put it in its tracks. The company, they focus on a lot of supporting youth and people with disability and stuff like that and hardship. And they want to go into a direction where they could help like them focus energies into productive things. Like and now it's back on track to still be doing it. So it's like almost a Woodward-like thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sick.
But it's going to be a bit different with an indoor wave pool and like indoor steel wave, and they'll do
steel wave. How does that work?
Steel wave, just
where they shoot the
Flow
jets.
Rider or whatever. Yeah. And then other things that aren't available at those other venues across the world. So it'll be unique, but more tailored to, because Australia, we've got such a vast country and not a huge population.
Yeah.
So you have to, for a facility to work, you have to get to so many different things to draw people in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everyone's still into different things. And yeah, so it's like,
because skating is pretty niche at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially here.
Yeah, that's why like pure just skate skate shops. I mean, it must be so challenging to stay pure like that. And yeah. So you
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I know you know better than anyone, but I've got a lot of admiration for anyone that stays true to that with their skate shops.
Yeah, at the same time, like with those people do venture into extracurricular activities that, skate park culture and things like that.
Yeah, okay.
Or moving into even the art realm or something within their space. It's all about keeping the doors open.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if I would rather someone sell some art pieces that aren't done by skaters, or sell some other things that aren't core skate shop, like, and moving into the skate park culture stuff. If it means that they get to put food on their table and have a roof over their heads rather than shutting, because that's just ego.
A good call, yeah.
It's just ego.
Hmm.
If you're going to, I would rather you thrive than survive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, it's admirable they want to stay true to the culture, but it's challenging because they got to put food on the table, and it doesn't mean I'd like to. They're not. It doesn't mean they're any less of a skater. I think that's what some of those. And I say this because I have friends that own skate shops.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Same.
yeah, I know, and like shoe sales I think help because anyone wears skate shoes whether you're a skater or not. So I think that's
a good
thing.
And the clothing.
Clothing, yeah. So going back to the Billabong thing, I was thinking Billabong has always been surf, and then they were sponsoring skaters as well.
Mm-hmm.
I always find out Volcom that's the one brand that's blended the two seamlessly.
Yep.
It's really interesting how they were able to pull that off. I wonder, what's your observation on that? Do you have one?
Yeah, I think that they did surfing in America a lot more than they were doing the skating here. So if you look at videos like Let's Live,
yeah,
Shane Cross, rest in peace.
Shit.
They kind of before they moved it here, it seemed like it was you know what I mean? They would have a couple of people that rode for it in America, where you had Rowley and I think Otto. Who were the other? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about back then.
Yeah.
And it was heavily Australian skaters that were part of it. And then the surfing was there was more surfers over there than there was here. It's like they just played with the dynamic.
Maybe. Or also maybe because they just started like that from the very start as well. Whereas Billabong's roots were so in surfing originally, and then...
Well, because it's older.
Yeah.
So there's,
Were you with Billabong when Bart Carnes was a team manager?
Yeah, he became the team manager while I was riding for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he was a team rider at the start.
Yeah.
And many wild adventures with old Bardos, Neville Bardos. Respect. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Many, many good times.
Yeah, dude. Wow, man. Good times. Were you just always were they actually, if you don't mind me asking, aside from giving you free product, were they they were paying for trips? Were they paying you a salary of any type?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had money coming in.
That'd be nice.
Monthly.
Yeah.
You get paid monthly, and then you have you also get, when you're in magazines or video or TV, you get paid for incentives for stickers and things, and when you mention their names and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Wow. So they were organised.
Yeah.
Were they pretty free with their budget and stuff when you go on tours?
When the skate program started here probably in 2000. And that's when Billabong just went public.
Right.
Gordon Merchant still owned 51%, so he had control over the company, but it was when it first went to the open market.
Yeah. And
they just poured heaps of money into everything marketing because they had a lot more money to do so. So there was what Billabong did for skating here in Australia was huge. Doing the tours and bringing people out, and then sponsoring some big events that people could make proper money on that wasn't happening here.
Yeah.
And they were never trying to buy their way into it. At the talks of most meetings, they were always like, we know that skaters aren't going to buy Billabong. We're just happy to support it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
That's cool.
Because they were never trying to sell in skate shops. They were never trying to... They did come up with a logo for the skate and snowboard stuff, but it wasn't to try and move into those markets more so than just showing like this is what we're going to use to support them.
Do you think
they only did it for like 3 years or something?
Do you think they were acknowledging that skaters often lead street fashions, and then they were trying to just sort of like get on that? You know how like a lot of...
Well, we weren't doing the designing of the clothes.
I know, but like I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you know how like skaters...
Some of the stuff most of the stuff, if you didn't go through, wasn't in there going through the warehouse yourself, like sometimes I get flown up there to go to the warehouse to pick out my packages.
Yeah.
There will just be someone that's picking your product and sending it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like, that happened a bit. And I do believe that happens right now with a lot of skate companies. They just get your size and send you whatever. You don't choose it.
Okay. But what I guess the point I'm trying to make is like in terms of from a marketing perspective, like you said, they weren't, they would just want to support skating. But do you think it was also like being identified with skate culture to help with sales of their like, their fashion and their clothing lines?
Well, that would mean that they would want to sell in skate shops and that, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the way they were doing it also is like they also they bought brands like Element and Nixon and stuff at that time too. And they were also pumping money into those. So they knew that those were going to work with skating. Not so much like,
Okay. There you go.
You know what I mean? And then having those brands, they were also advertising a lot with the magazines and keeping the pages open.
Yeah.
Because once the funding from big companies like that, was gone, you started watching them go from magazines that were once a month to bi-monthly to quarterly.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that's because of those companies aren't funding it.
Right.
And it's turned into more companies like the shoe companies and things like that. But they're not supporting it the way that it was getting it before. So they're doing less.
Yeah, gotcha. That's so interesting. It's a different perspective. I never really considered it. So thanks for sharing that.
Well, that's all right. It's just being part of it and being around.
Yeah.
So I also did marketing straight after high school, which I wasn't able to complete because of my teacher, and I had to go on a trip. But also learning about that and seeing it all work and looking at the eye, looking through everything with this new eye, new lens. And it's very crazy to watch like what everyone does. It's very evil.
Marketing.
Yeah. Like
it's money, man.
Well, it's just the knowledge that they have on how to control people and the masses and doing things like that, what they can do with triggering certain things in the mind to get people to follow and do stuff and conform is insane. And, when you get the right information and look into it over an amount of time, you understand that a lot of stuff that you're looking at isn't necessarily the best.
Right. And it's crazy. It's the crazy psychology.
Like it's not even your choice type of deal. Like you learn to...
Why? Because you've been brainwashed.
Yeah. So you learn to get the attention and then to create a want and then create a need. And there's 5 to 10 steps to get someone to have not known about said product, to catching their attention, to getting their subliminal, and then all the way through to feeling that they have to have it and they need to have it and they need to be a part of it.
So crazy.
And without it, it's not right.
And we become slaves to it.
Yes. And with knowing all these things, I kind of went in the other direction when I started my own branding, because I didn't want. I'm not trying to make choices. I'm trying to be an option. Trying to help people.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, could definitely have capitalized on it a lot more and be in a financial better position.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about. I'm about free choice.
Okay. Not driven by money?
Nah, not
We
at all.
talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Why aren't you driven by money?
I watched it kind of tear up family at one point in a time of growth, and I kind of like I put everything aside. I watched what people done for it. Also, like enduring this in this time of growth was around 16. Also had someone hold us up, like first time someone put a gun to us. That was an experience.
Do you mind sharing that story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Pretty much was I worked for Domino's for a few years at this point, and my sister was a manager in Sydney and in a place called Lakemba at this time. And each school holidays, if I wasn't doing like something else, I would go and do some work with her for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just because instead of getting the odd shift here and there, Friday, Saturdays, it would be like daily because she was a manager. And one night after a Saturday night, we just went to take the funds, like the bags of money, across to the drop box, which is straight across the road from the front door.
Yeah.
And next to the drop box was an alley. And yeah, I had these 2 bags of money. And a dude come around the alley, just kind of wearing sunnies and that, and held a gun to us and was like, give us it. Grabbed the bags, and stupidly I'm like fighting with him. I'd already had the key in the Dropbox, and if you know how Dropbox works, you got to like pull it out, put it in a bag, shut it, open it, and then put the other bag in.
Yeah.
So I was able to get one bag in, and then I've closed it and I've gone to open it, and he's got hold of the other bag. He's got one hand on the gun and one hand on the money, where I'm like kind of got 2 hands on it. Hit us in the hand with the gun, like with the butt of it, and it just like broke the grip, ripped it, ran. He was like 6 foot something. I was a kid. There was other people around, but yeah, adrenaline just was pumping through me. Had a big smile on my face afterwards.
Smile?
Yeah. It was just like, oh, that was a gun. Like, yeah.
I'm just like, you're interesting. I can't work you out. Like, you're smiling because...
Adrenaline.
Just because, is that how you react to gnarly situations in general?
Yeah, sometimes as well. It does get me in a bit of trouble too. Like if someone's like trying to have words with me, I think it's funny their reaction and how they're being.
And they think you're being a smart ass.
Yeah, but they're not. They're just laughing at the scenario.
That's just how you.
Yeah.
It's interesting, dude. Yeah, like, I remember, like I know you've spent a fair bit of time in America. Mm-hmm. Like, how old were you when you first went over?
20.
20.
Yeah.
And what got you over there originally?
I went over for Tampa Am.
Yes.
Yeah, I just used to watch all the videos, and I just thought that was like my only goal on skateboarding, was to go to Tampa Am, and I just wanted to go to that party. It was a great experience. So back then, it's 2003. Caught there. It really all happened heaps quick. I was like, I'm going to do this. It was in January at the time, and I went and got a job at Surf Diving Ski at Tuggerah, and they were giving me like 14-hour shifts through Christmas holidays on a casual rate, and was working 7 days a week. And after a few weeks, was able to just buy my flight. Like, knew my goal, you know what I mean? Then went over Flight Centre, bought my flight in the same, Westfield or whatever, and then the next couple of weeks built up what I could for spending money and buying my hotel and stuff. First, before I left, I printed out the direction to the skate park from the hotel staying at.
Yeah.
And then missed the connecting flight from a delay in the plane and got put in LA overnight. And then made my way to Tampa in the morning. And by the time I got to the hotel, the guy was like, your mum's called like 20 times trying to find out like where I am, because at this point she doesn't know what's going on.
So she knew where the hotel you were booked at?
Yeah.
That's all she knew.
Yeah, but because I was like a day later, and she didn't know that I had the connecting and things like that because there's no way to.
Your poor mum.
Yeah, she was stressed. So yeah, so this is an interesting experience. The first night, like I rock up and I got 2 big bags. I've packed for like 4 months at this point. It seems like compared to what I would do now. And so I go in. You know, I never travel. I never traveled to New Zealand at this point. Never by myself, and I didn't realize that I'm in the hood. Tampa's gnarly. And
So I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
mean, I've watched all the skate park of Tampa comps, Tampa Am, Tampa Pro.
it is rough.
I thought Tampa was like the place, like party town.
It is. But it's rough.
Is it?
Yeah, it is gnarly. So I I go and stay there first night, and like 2 a.m, I just hear this boof, 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 my door. And I go to the window and I just like open the curtain instead of, because at this point, if I open the door and have the little chain, you don't know what's going to happen. And there's just three big African American dudes there, and they're like, look at me, and they're like, I was like, can I help you, mate? And the voice caught them off guard, and they're like, oh, it's John here. I was like, no, John here, mate. And then they're like, all right, and they walk off. So the next day, I'm like, oh, actually, earlier on that day after I dropped my bags off, I'd gone and walked down the wrong street, and I've come up to a cul-de-sac, and I'm like, I'm not in the right place. And there was a couple of carloads of people there rolling dice, playing, like gambling in the gutter.
Such a hood game.
And I was
that one.
like, and I just turned around and then walked back. And as I started walking, they just all got up, looked at me, jumped in their cars and followed me. And I went into a 7-Eleven, which had a Subway in it, and I bought myself a foot-long meatball sub. And I sat down, I was eating it. And this dude just comes up, stands right next to the table, standing over me, looking down at me. And his friend got $2 worth of fuel because he got a pay for the fuel there. And then he just walked away. And I was
just
like,
$2 worth of fuel.
yeah, and I was like, fuck, and it's 3 carloads of guys. So then I go down the right street, and the first skater I see, his name's Matthias Nylon from Sweden. He's a vert skater. I just saw a skateboard and was like, that's me, mate. Went straight up to him and was like, where's the skate park? He's like, down here, I'm going there now. I was like, perfect. We stopped by his place, which is Tampa 8. You don't stay at Tampa 8. The place is like run by each room. They've always got a room open to rent, but like you got drug dealers and prostitutes out of each room.
It's like hourly rate.
Yeah. So the next day after my altercation, I see him and I'm like, man, like last night I had guys turn up my room at like 2 a.m. It's like, and he's like, that's nothing. My door, I had people kicking at it from like a big rock in that. Like this rock is like solid bit of concrete and like pointed to it. And it's on the ground right near it. And these doors got a big like, and he's like, they were trying to kick in my door to get to me, to rob me. And I was just like, shit. And they were trying to get me to come outside. And because I had 2 queen beds, I was like, you can come stay with me if you want. And he's like, oh, I like that. It's like, just get a refund. And he's like, I'll try, but I don't think I'll get one. He goes to
So in the same hotel.
No, this is Tampa 8. I'm at the Howard Johnson. I'm like,
Right.
I'm in a bigger
It's
place.
even
He's just smaller.
He's just dodgy.
Yeah, you don't stay there. This place is gnarly. Yeah. Mine has like 50 rooms or 60 or something.
Yeah.
His would have like 8. So it's called Tampa 8. It's fucked.
Dude.
Yeah, it's ghetto as fuck. And he goes to the front counter and goes, oh, is there a way I can get a refund? I don't want to stay here. And the guy in the front was like, yep, just gave him the cash straight away. And he didn't expect that. And I was like, sweet, you can give that to me. And come stay with us. So it halved my money.
Nice.
I used that money and bought some stuff from skate park at Tampa. I turn up to the park, right? Just thinking it's a normal event. Just sign up and you go on the skate comp. Knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
I turn up and I'm like, yeah, I just want to go on the skate comp. And the guy's like, oh, what's your name? I tell him and he goes through all this. He's like, your name's not down. I was like, no, I know. I'm here to sign up. And he's like, you got to book like 3 months in advance. I just traveled across the world, halfway around the globe. And I was like, oh, okay. do you mind if I have a skate? He's like, yeah, you can go for a skate. And I was like, thanks. And he just went and had a roll. He's like, oh, well, whatever. I'm just going to be here.
So you weren't bummed?
No, it wasn't.
After all that.
I bought some stuff. I bought like a skate park Tampa shirt, and bought a Nixon player watch and a bunch of things to have to watch this day. And was just happy to be there. I was just like, yeah, I'm skate park at Tampa. Love this place. This is great. This is gonna be awesome. The next day I turn up and Clements comes and finds me, Ryan Clements, and he's just like, hi, you're the guy that come from Australia. I'm like, yeah. He's like, mate, you're in the comp. I was like,
yes.
Thank you. And he's just like, no, thank you for traveling all this way. Like, I heard you bought some stuff. Do you want your money back?
Aww.
And I was like, no, man, like, this is way cheaper than cost price. I'm happy to pay my way. And he's just like, anything you need, like, you sorted. I was like, thank you very much.
What a legend.
Yeah, and that was a good experience. And so...
Were you sponsored by Billabong at that stage?
At this point,
as
yes.
an amateur? Like,
yeah. I was making a bit of money each month.
Yeah. But you were able to go in the M.
Yeah, you can get paid as an M.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just like when you're getting into the... Once you go on a pro event, you can't go backwards type of deal. And, And also on the first night, just after those guys had left, about an hour later, around 3 a.m., I just heard this pop, 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 pop. And I look outside, and across just from where the car park from us is the back of a school, which a road ran around the back of like the what's it called, the field.
Yeah.
And there was two cars that met up there just to have a shoot off. And then
like a shootout, like trying to kill each other.
Yeah, like a bunch of young dudes. And here they are, just doing their thing. I know something went wrong. And then they peeled out after a bunch of yelling and shit. Maybe someone got hit, don't know. He was just watching it. This is first night, like solo night in America. And the other one was just a hotel, you know.
Yeah.
I hadn't even seen anything. I've gone, you know. And then, so the second night, 3 more dudes come back to my door. Same thing. Just open the curtain. One guy goes to answer the question, and the guy looks over behind us and sees Mateus in the room and just like taps his mate on the shoulder, and then they just walked away.
Okay.
And I didn't have him come back again. So they were just like, the first night after they sussed us out, they were like, they just...
These guys are just a couple of dirty skaters. They've got nothing to steal.
Yeah. They were just like, you know, going to rob us or whatever, try and get what they can.
Stressful though.
Well, I was just thinking this is what America was. Friday was because you got the, you know, movie channels, and every 2 hours they replay it, and then they'll do that for a few days in a row so you don't miss the movie. Mm-hmm. And I had Friday on every night, and I just, from the movie and what was going on, I just thought that's just how it was.
Like Ice Cube's Friday.
Yeah, that's it.
Classic.
It's a great film. And I just thought that's what went on. It wasn't until I lived there that these things don't always happen.
It's because it's bad luck, or just because of the area? You just landed in a rough area.
Yeah, just Tampa's ghetto. I went to a couple sus areas where things like that happened as well, like a bit more on the California side as well.
Man, America's such a full-on place. It really is. It's going through some gnarly shit at the moment.
I wouldn't have a clue.
I've been following it. It's just so heavy what's going on with their border jumpers at the moment. Like the migrant crisis it's the biggest it's ever been. The amount of people just filing in over the border from Mexico is insane.
I think every country's doing it tough.
They are, but what it's then leading to is then these migrants come in with no way to make income to survive except by selling drugs that they can get easily from their own country, and then like there's and then it's leading into this fentanyl crisis. Which,
fentanyl saved my life.
Well, you said that to me the other day, but like what they're doing is they're mixing the fentanyl with
cocaine.
Yeah, crack and ice and stuff like that. And
do you believe that's how we lost some of our greats?
Yeah, that's it. And people don't know. But then people are then just getting addicted to fentanyl, and it's just they're ODing because they're not sure about, apparently it's quite strong, and they're just not sure about their dosages. So Yeah, it's a concern. Weird time, strange time. Anyway,
Yeah, drug crisis.
so you you lived there after that.
Yeah.
So what was the transition? So actually no. How did you place in that first Tampa comp?
Like 13th or 16th or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty honourable.
Yeah, not too bad.
First attempt.
Yeah.
And then how many Tampas have you skated in?
2.
How'd you go in the
Next
second
was
one?
Early 20s or something like that.
Yeah.
So I made it to semis both times.
Nice.
Yeah. I just can't remember exactly what the
Okay.
place was.
You still made the semis, so
Yeah. Made it through.
It's under 20.
Mm.
Wow, man. Nervous?
Huh?
Don't remember being like shit scared skating in front of like the best skaters in the world.
No, the second year I was way more prepared. It's just I went and so what you're talking about is like everyone that's there is the best at their own area, and everyone gets out of their way, and whatnot, and they're all there to prove themselves. The second year I went there and I was trying a frontside flip over this hip over a little rail, and there was a guy playing skate. There was 2 guys playing skate over there, and even though I'd been trying my trick longer than they had, playing their game, the guy kind of got frustrated, and one of the attempts he flicked his board up, and I've had to bow because I'm coming down this board, but his board's vertical and I come down on my knee on it, and then my knee was toast. Yeah,
Shit.
It's like swollen and everything. Yeah, full ruined like a month in the States.
Okay.
Yeah, sucked.
Dude.
But then I had to I just iced it and did what I could through the night, and then next day I had to skate.
Yeah.
Skate the semis with a bung knee. Could barely do anything. Yeah, it was just like hurt. Just
That's no good.
it was what it was.
So like, at what stage did you? And what trip was it that you sort of went there and went, "Hey, I'm staying for a while"?
I've been doing back and forth with my partner at the time.
So you met someone.
I had met someone. Yeah,
Cool.
I met her over here, and then we did that. And it was just really hard, like restarting your life every time, especially for her, like having to get jobs and whatnot. And at this point, she was happy where she was and everything was going on. And literally the night before, she was crying to me, and I was like, all right, well, I just won't fly out tomorrow. And I just overstayed my visa for a few years.
There you go.
Yeah, don't do that if you're listening. It's not what you should do. You should definitely go through the process. It's a lot easier if you do it before overstaying. Unless you're going to overstay for at least 7 years.
Was that stressful though? Like, were you always on edge? Like, I'm going to get deported at any minute.
No, because any time that someone saw an Australian license, any cop, it would be like a get out of jail free card. They're just like, here you go. I don't know, go on
They're
your
not
way.
worried.
Yeah.
They're kind of looking for migrants from like South American countries.
Like we had
right?
to fly there and stuff. And
Yeah.
my another thing was my wife. She was a radiographer, and she worked for a federal prison. And the people that she literally worked with were the people to try and find people like myself and send them away. And one night we went out with her work friends to a bar, and they had like gotten this cabana and stuff. It was real fancy, like going out with a club. And because they're federal, like prison guards and that, they're like 7 foot something. They're real big people. And if you've seen like big Americans, you know what I'm talking about. Massive guys.
Yeah.
Massive guys. And this guy that I see, this real big dude was like, hey, do you want to come smoke a joint? And I was like, and then I just realized where I was. I was in a cabana where there was no exit except for past them. And I was like, these guys' job is to get people like me and send them back to where they came from. So I just said no, and I just sat there and I was like just sitting there, just playing my chin, thinking, what am I going to do? And then the biggest dude comes up to me, puts his arm around me, and I just remember his hand just like kind of covering my whole shoulder and down to like my chest, you know, just this massive paw. Like
big human.
Yeah. And he's like, don't worry. He's like, we know all about you and we're not after you, someone like you. Yeah, you're fine.
No, cool like that.
And I was just like, He's like, do you want to come out here with us? And I was like, yes. Yeah, so I would like that.
Smoke a spliff with them.
No, they didn't mix. It was a joint. It
Okay.
was straight.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a different experience. But yeah, that was the only time I was like stressed. Like I said, there was a couple of times where there was a lot of great skate adventures, a lot of great trips with some good people, where I got to experience some amazing skateboarding. Indian Ditch in Albuquerque.
Okay.
It's a great place to go to. It's like a really long drain, and it goes for like 7 miles or something. And it's just on a mellow cruise, and you just go up and down. Like it's got spots all the way along it too. And if you go there, you'll see certain spots, and you're like, oh, that's that spot from that movie and that person, and blah blah
like
blah.
bank to ledges and
Yeah,
stuff.
and like ledges going into the drains and blah blah blah, like heaps of different ones. But just to be able to cruise this mellow, like banked, ditch that goes for miles,
dude.
It's just
That's a different experience, eh?
yeah, it was amazing. It was euphoric, and just doing it with some of my best mates as well, and people that see as family. It was just great.
Like the friends you made over there became like family?
Yeah, for sure. Like when you're in somewhere else where you're not able to make money, you're not able to do anything. You find when you're it's kind of like you find out who's there for you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Do you mind if I ask though, how were you surviving in that respect?
Whole different ways. Some people would pay me under the table. Yeah, I would be able to make money in contests as well.
Yeah.
Like I did have a social security number and stuff like that, so that was legal. I was doing things like when I was in this like really middle transition before I got married and things. I was doing stuff like I was staying at my friend Rob Lorifus's house, and there was a lot of partying going on.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of cans afterwards, and I would take the cans down and cash them in.
Okay.
And then live off that money. I had, all my credit cards. Well, I only had one credit card. Like I had maxed that out, and I had done these things, and got down to collecting cans and living off the food that you could buy real cheap.
Yeah.
And surviving.
Yeah.
It was good.
Just been resourceful.
Yeah. There was a couple of times where he was getting excess product and also giving me a couple extras to take down to like an op shop and then sell them to them.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. And that would get me through like, a week or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting support with everyone around.
That's so rad. Yeah, money, sometimes money can dictate your decisions, and then when you have money, because like you don't have to be as resourceful, it's like takes the adventure out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you just go, I can afford this and that, and it's all safe and easy. But when you don't have that, you got to be resourceful, and then that'll, you end up making a different relationship or taking it.
I was in a foreign jungle with nothing, like no tools to survive, and just going off anything that I could do myself with no way home. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just released into something else.
Yeah.
I didn't go over there with like, I didn't know everyone, and I wasn't the type of person that researches who people are and try and link up and things like that. The people that I met are the people I've just met along the way. Gotcha. Where, a lot of people I met, a lot of my good friends I met organically, not through anyone or anything like that. Just literally both had skateboard and been at the same place and starting relationships that I've had for over 2 decades now. So,
sick. Still in touch.
Yeah, still in touch.
And that was predominantly like in the California area, like San Diego?
Well, they're from Esteen when I moved there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but that's not exactly where I met them.
Okay.
So some was like Tampa Am.
Gotcha.
And I lived in Florida for a bit.
Yep.
And met some in Florida. And then when, moved around, they would also be primarily there at times.
What city were you living with your partner?
Orlando, and then San Diego.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Florida,
Nice, man. San Diego.
California.
You like San Diego? If you had to compare San Diego to Florida, what would you choose? Like,
SD for sure.
Yeah.
San Diego, I feel like gravitated towards a place. It's on the same latitude as Newcastle, but in the plus,
Yeah.
not the minus. So
Gotcha.
it's the opposite sides of the equator, opposite sides of the Pacific, opposite coasts of the country, and opposite latitude. So it has a very similar weather pattern.
Gotcha.
And it was very deserty area over 100 years ago. And
Yeah.
this woman named Kate Sessions, she was a botanist, and in the early 1900s worked with the city and used a lot of her own money to put a bunch of flora around San Diego. And what she did was she actually used flora from different countries from the same latitude. They have the same weather pattern, so they stick. And there's a lot of gum trees there. So it made me feel like home. And a lot of other trees that we have
Yeah, I
too.
remember we talked about this the other day, and it's like really interesting because I relate to it because over the years, I've made some really good friends from America, and I'm still in touch with them. And I didn't actually meet them in America. I met them in various parts of the world, but they all are from California just by coincidence, you know. And then when you said that about how, and they are from San Diego, so it's like when you said that thing about the latitude and the longitude, it's like, you know, I didn't consider that maybe we have some strange geographic connection.
We do.
You reckon?
Well, Sydney and LA are the same too.
Yep.
And so is Melbourne and San Francisco.
See, I didn't know that.
And Melbourne and San Francisco, they're very arty.
They are.
And Sydney and LA, they're both just like big cities that have everything.
That's
and
right.
so they have a lot of similarities. Also, San Diego has a military base where it's got a lot of, they've got a Navy and Air Force. Gotcha. And we have Air Force here in Newcastle.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So it's like there's so many things in common, but it's also looking for the brown. You know, I'm looking for the common things that are relating.
Because you want to.
Yeah, I'm seeing these things. The only way that the way I come up with this, and noticed it, was I had a globe that was that I got from a trade show. It was a World Industries globe, and I had it on a mantle, and as I was watching TV, I always had Australia and America facing out.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on a sec, those lines look like they could be very close. And then I Googled it, and yeah, one's like 32 degrees and the other one's 31.9 or something like that. They're that close.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's super. Sydney, Melbourne.
Because you overstayed, are you able to go back?
I am now.
How long couldn't you go back for?
10 years I got the maximum. But I went back there, and when I left, I actually left on a visa. It didn't exist anymore. The system had changed, electronical, and I went over on a paper one. And they looked at me and were like, wait, like, you're still in the country. Like, all our documentations. When did you leave? I said, I left a while ago. They're like, we don't have anything. I was like, yeah, because when I walked out, customs was closed. It was like 11:30 at night, and I had like a 1 a.m. flight or something. And they were just like, they were confused. They put me in a cell for a bit and sent me home, and did whatever. But then they told me, they're like, look, you're not being deported, you're being turned around, and this is what you're getting struck with. And yeah, that time has passed now, and I'm allowed to go back there.
Any plans to go back there anytime soon?
There's no set plans yet.
Yeah.
But I never really plan things too much. I focus on an end goal when it comes to stuff.
Yeah.
And then the path will present itself along the way. So, like I was saying earlier about going to Tampa, I didn't go, I'm going to get a job, focus on the money, to get the money, to then do these things. I was like, I want to go to Tampa in 2 months. And then I was at Westfield like the next couple of days, and the manager was like, hey, do you want a job here? Like a Christmas casual. Yeah. And I was like, that'll be great. And then I was like, what can you give us? And he's like, heaps of hours. And I was like, well, I'll do that.
Sick.
And then the path just presented itself. So the way that I see money is that Mick Adams, who I worked at Slimes with, who's one of the owners of it now, he once told me that money is something that it will be there when it's supposed to, and if it's not there, it's not meant to be. So don't sit there and worry about it. I focus on the end goal, and the path will present itself. If we sit there and look at the challenges that lay in front of us or the hurdles, we focus on them and they trip us up. We don't focus on the finish line. Mm-hmm. So keep your goals set. And you can, create these little hurdles if you want, but I cruise, man.
And the resources you need will appear if you're on the right path.
Yes.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Because I've learnt that the hard way. Every time I chase money, it seems to get further away.
Yeah.
And then when I don't, then it seems to come.
Or it appears when you need it.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And it's like, I've got to do said thing, or I need to pay said bill or something. The money turns up. Yeah. And if it doesn't and your situation changes and say you have to relocate, you'll find out you end up being in a better place.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. It's so true. There's so much emotion attached to money for people because of the time investment they have to put in for it, which I understand. So if you're going to work for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week,
it's an energy exchange.
It is an energy exchange, and so then it's an emotional attachment. So it's like when they lose money, it's not really about the money as much as the time they've lost as well.
Exactly, and you've got to be happy with the moments that were, because then that's like what they were to do what you got to do.
I know. I think, and so many people don't really like that whole notion of time is the most valuable thing you have.
Yep.
Like as I get older, it really resonates with me more and more. I see how important it is because money fluctuates. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but you just never get the time back. And there's just no time to waste. Like that should be the priority. Is like, how am I spending my time? And just be more refined with how you and who you're giving your time to, and how you're giving that time. For me, it's something I've been focusing on a lot lately.
Yeah, well, when you got children, it puts all that stuff into perspective a bit more.
100%.
It's a little bit harder when you don't. Because you're watching them grow. We're sitting here growing and we're experiencing growth, but we don't see ourselves grow.
Yeah.
When we're externally watching something else grow, even an animal, and they're like, people understand that their dog gets so big so quick, like it gets from a puppy to its full height in a year, and then after another 2 years it's full out to its full size, and it's only going to last 15 years or whatever.
Yeah.
That happens so quick, and then there's so much longevity in the full size of the animal that it's a little bit harder to take on. But when it takes a lot of time for something to grow, you get more appreciation for it. I think bonsai trees, like they take a fair bit of time and a lot of work, and you get appreciation with them. I haven't done it, but I appreciate what they are and understand what it takes to do that. Yeah. I have a lot of house plants and around, like how you've got a couple here. Yeah, and so tending to them, and like children, it's like watering your plants every day, but you do it with information and also knowledge and all the other structure that you use to help them be the best that they can.
You're right. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's so true. Kids put time into perspective. Yeah, and also, like you said, you're watching it and they grow and change so quickly.
I don't want that to take away from anybody else's experience either.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm not trying to say that because I have kids, I know more about time.
No, it doesn't come across like that.
Yeah.
You're just sort of highlighting that's what you learnt.
Yeah, it seems to put it more into perspective for myself.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel it as well. Yeah, so
there's a couple of things that's like, do you know why a year is quicker each time?
Is it?
Yeah, do you know why it feels quicker for you?
Oh, as you get older? No?
it's a less percentage of your life.
Oh, okay.
So when you're 4, a year's a quarter of your life.
A 4? No, it's not a quarter of your life.
A year is a quarter of your life when you're 4 years old.
Okay, sorry. I see what. I see what you've done there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're 40, it's a 40th of your life.
Yeah. I never thought
It's
of it like
percentage.
that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you know that the brain is the only thing to name itself?
Is it? Well, yeah. Shit. It is. I guess it is. Fuck, that's just blown my mind. Wait up. I'm going back to the time thing. 1 year. When you're 4, 1 year is a quarter of your life.
It's 25%.
If I live to like 80, let's say I live to 80. Well, let's say I live to 100. 25 is a quarter of my life.
Yeah, 25 years is a quarter of your life.
Okay. So I still got 75% of my life left. Oh, I don't know.
It's looking at the total, right? And then what percentage of that is.
So you're saying that it feels quicker
Yeah, when you get older, because it's a less percentage of your life.
because
So
you got less life left.
No, it's a less percentage of your life. You lived 100, so it's only 1%. When you're 4, it takes
Oh
up
yeah, okay.
25%.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, 25 years is a quarter, but then 1 year is a 40th. So for example, if I'm 40, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh. Again, this is a whole new perspective.
Yeah.
I feel so dumb, actually. Now I've worked it out.
No, that's all right.
It's a trip.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that other one that I just gave you as well, that puts things in perspective also.
Something I think about a lot lately is like we've all had hard times in our life, and the first half of my life, even as a kid, had its challenges, pretty major ones. And I've just got this mindset of like, I feel like I've overcome a lot. And I'm in my midlife, literally, if I go by the data of like the expected age of an average male in Australia. So and I'm just like, I'm like really focused on like the second half of my life is going to be better than the first half.
Yeah, because you have the knowledge. A lot of the first half is you're growing.
Yeah.
You're growing as the being, and then you're growing in the brain, and then you learn how to use the brain with the being.
And now I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm feeling. Like I feel really like at peace with who I am as a person and my life. It's taken me a long time to get here, but I got here. So now I'm like, I just really want to enjoy life. Like things are in perspective now. Yeah. Sick.
That's why I just try to do what I can and enjoy as much time as I can. Yeah.
That's right. But the thing that bums me out is like the only thing that's not coming to the party with that is that my body has aged and it's not able to do what it was doing when I was 20.
That's a mindset.
No, but serious, like it's a mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a degree. I don't know. Like I
definitely got more flip tricks now than I did 20 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Are you approaching it more like methodically?
I've developed skill.
Refined?
Yeah, I got better.
What about jumping down shit?
I just don't try it. I think if I conditioned my body to do that again, I would still be able to do it.
How many steps are at
You look at BT, Switch Hard Wellenberg. Come on, he's 40.
That's amazing though. What a freak. And he broke both his legs. Jumping off that bridge or falling off that bridge, remember?
Yeah.
What a comeback.
What was that? November 15th. I think he did that. His Switch Hard Flip Day.
It's insane, hey. Yeah, you're right. Do you know him personally?
Yeah.
Is he a legend?
He's a nice
Brendan
guy.
Turner?
Yeah.
Seems
I haven't
like
spent
it.
heaps of time with him, but yeah, he's chilling.
I really admire all the stuff he's doing, like running a sober living.
Yeah, it's a
Helping
choice.
people.
Yeah, it's like from experience, making choice, and then wanting to change and make the world better in our own vision. And it's the same thing with, anyone that helps or devotes time to others, to give them a better experience if they can, like the opportunity for a better experience,
Exactly.
life experience.
Living a life of service to others.
to an extent, because you have to still service yourself. Because if your cup's not full, you can't pour it into anybody else's.
Yes, good point. Yeah, I like that. But going back to the age thing, like how many? Like if you skated Waterloo Skate Park in Sydney, the stair set there. How many steps is that? 6. Like I tried to jump down that the other week. Well, I'm just gonna have an ollie to 6 stair and ages. I dead set like. I'm going to turn 47 a few months ago, and I was just like, I bailed the first one, and just the impact of landing, my ankles and knees just went, no.
You got to start off down the 3 for a bit.
I
or the 2
did.
for a bit.
I ollied down the 3, then I turned around and ollied up the 3. I went, hey, I'm feeling good.
That's just one. To condition yourself, you can't just do one.
But I was warm. Like I'd been skating for hours.
You do your ollie, you do a couple of 180s, you do a kickflip or something, maybe a pop shove. You do a few things down it. You don't just jump down one. All right, I got this. I'm conditioned. Like
it's a
because
6
you're taking the impact. Hey, you got to crawl before you can walk.
True.
And sometimes you got to go back to crawling.
But it was the first time I just had this moment of like my immorality was like there. Like hey, like I felt like my knees and ankles were going to crumble.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, no, it's like really, and all of a sudden I had all this fear, and I'm like, it's only 6 stairs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's how, before you did your first 6 stair, how many times did you do a 5 stair before?
Yeah, I guess a few times.
Yeah, how much conditioning of your body did you do of taking impact?
Yeah, true. A lot. But I want to preface it by going, I was never like a big gap or stair skater anyway. I think in my whole skate life, I think I ollied a 10 stair once. So, but that's it. But that's it, And
that's
so
good.
I think too, my mind, me and Sid Tapey were talking about it in his episode recently, like in my mind, I come up with all these really good ideas for tricks, and like I figured them out after years, but then the application and getting the body to do what my mind wants me to do, I'm struggling with, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's just connecting, your mind and your feet again. So doing other exercises like juggling a soccer ball and stuff like that, or just skating more, will help you put all that back together. It's amount of board and the time on the board too. You spend 5,000 hours or whatever, and you get X amount better.
So you had a bit of a health complication recently. Like you don't have to go into it. But are you getting aside from that, have you been getting on the board regularly or?
I've had 3 skates back.
Okay.
Yeah. So I also, because, spending the time in the hospital bed and things like that, I was playing soccer the other night with the kids. I had like a art thing, and there was a bunch of other kids there, and I pulled a muscle on the top of my right leg, and twice I've tried to get off the ground with it, and it hurts. So I'm going to have to get this back to 100%. So it's because I haven't been doing stuff that the muscle deterioration is like, that's showing effect.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I had a couple of skates and they were starting to be fun. One, I was at Mainland. It was like, got 20 minutes in and this crazy wind and storm popped out of nowhere. The other one was a good flat ground session, had some fun for a good hour or so. And the other one was just like a mini ramp session. I think I did like 5 runs. Like it wasn't even a session, it was just at the pub. Yeah. Just trying to. And yeah, I was kicking a soccer ball that friggin' did this to my thigh. Of all things.
But you're a bit out of condition because like you're in the hospital for a little bit.
Yeah. Lost like 5 kilos of body mass. So yeah, and it feels like it really attacked the muscle.
Yeah.
The muscles. Like I can just see it. It's not just
like it reduced.
It's not fat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, feels like it's muscles, pissing a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Passing a lot of blood.
You're okay now, you reckon?
Yeah. A lot of painkillers. That stuff does things to your gut and all sorts of things. It's just got to work your muscle up. And I've never been one to go to the gym or anything like that, ever. And I'm contemplating it now. And my housemate goes to the gym and does a lot of that stuff too, and he skates a bit, so he has all the knowledge of doing it, and also he works at a supplement shop, so it's there if I want to do it. And he would definitely, just be like, show me what to do, and how to do certain things to
Yeah.
build whatever if I choose to go down that path. But he definitely hasn't been like, oh, you've got to do this with your life. You know how some people can be like that, tell you what you got to do. The opportunity's there.
Yeah, nice.
I might take him up on that. See how we go.
In terms of longevity, I think it does help, man. It's helped
Yeah.
me a lot. Like, it has helped me a lot in terms of just maintaining the things I like to do to a certain level, you know.
So the mindset that I have with it is like, if I want to get better at skating, why don't I just skate all the time? If I've got the 2 hours to go to the gym, why don't I just do 2 hours of kickflips?
Yeah. Andrew Reynolds put up a thing recently about like getting your reps in, like, you know, if you're not feeling like skating, but just go skating, go and do 10 ollies, and then 10 backside 180s, and 10 frontside 180s, and then 10 kickflips, and then, you know, get your reps in. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my mindset, you know what I mean? Well, mine isn't even that. Like, I guess I'll try the trick. I'll do kickflip, then fakie flip, switch flip, nollie flip, and then do the heel flip versions and the pop shove versions. Yeah, just try and work through the tricks.
Dude.
Yeah.
Game of skate with yourself.
Yeah, well, the way that me and my friends would originally play skate is never score.
Okay.
And just go until you can't be fucked.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the way you learn tricks.
Yeah, I reckon.
Because you get to a point where you've done everything. And you're not going through the 2 tries, and there's not like a winner. And it's like you play a game, and then you're like, all right, new game, new tricks. All right, new game, new tricks. All right, new game, new tricks. It's like, why didn't they just not score in the first place? Like, this is just pointless.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win here, just trying to skate.
It's kind of true. I'm talking about wasting time. It's like, if I've got 2 hours, why would I go to the gym when I could go skate? But like, it's like I go to the gym so I can skate better. But it's like, you've just wasted 2 hours.
You could have just done the skating for 2 hours.
That's true. So true. I mean, skating is such a good workout, though.
Yeah.
Like, skaters are so fit. They really are. Maybe not in the upper body too much, but
Oh, that was the thing that come to mind when you kind of went back. I was like, well, it's upper body. It does help with the twisting and the cardio.
yeah, okay.
So abs and cardio and stuff, but not really the arms.
Yeah.
Unless you're falling over a bunch and you've got to push yourself back up.
Yeah, I love that feeling when you've been skating all day and you just like feel like you didn't get injured, but you just feel like a little bit broken.
You need a bath.
Yeah, and then like all your muscles are
Put in
sore.
some Epsom salts.
But you're just like, you're sore, but you
Scented
feel
candles.
good. Yeah, man. Give yourself like a special bath, and I don't know, it's the best feeling. You just feel so like accomplished, like I've done something. Yeah, I went skating the other day for the first time. We had a 6-hour session at Tech Park in Sydney. When I say 6
I
hours,
saw the footage from that, and you posted something, didn't you?
twisted something.
No, you posted something.
Oh yeah. I went, like, we had a weird day. Like, we skated a lot, but we didn't land much.
Hey.
And we just had one of those weird days, but we were there at the park all day, trying stuff, have a little break, try stuff. And it's the best. By the end of the day, we're just like zen, like I don't know. I haven't done that in years.
Yeah, see? You could have done 6 hours at the gym and then 2 hours of skating.
That's it. And you know what the ironic thing is, that my legs were sore because I'd been to the gym the day before. So I was skating sore from the gym. I was like, damn it.
Doing leg day on leg day? Doubling up?
It really is stupid, actually, in hindsight. But
I wouldn't say stupid. I'm just saying it's a different mindset. I guess like the other one definitely goes down the path of athleticism, and you're trying to be an athlete.
yeah.
I do believe strength building when you're hurt and you're not able to skate, and say like you've done an ankle or a knee or thing like that, like that definitely helps. Like I've been an advocate of getting to 100% before you start skating again.
Yeah.
Which means like when you're hurt, don't party, which is the hard one, because alcohol thins your blood and slows down your your healing process, and actually makes it worse, and you don't heal the same. And that's why not many people come back after. They're like, oh yeah, well, man, I'm just going to go and do this and do that, like go to this party and that party. It's like, yeah, just don't indulge in alcohol, and there's a lot of other things which can mess with your getting back on the board. It's better to do it when you're healthy
Yeah.
than it is to do it when you're not healthy.
Oh, hell yeah. And alcohol increases inflammation in your cells. So it actually increases inflammation. So then when things can't heal as well when they're inflamed, apparently.
Which is why you have anti-inflammatories.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, would you ever want to be a judge at the Olympics?
Oh, yeah, I could do that. That'd be fun.
Could that opportunity ever pop up for you?
Like I said, I work for World Skate when it comes to it, and they're the governing body that do that stuff. It's looking like that I'll be playing a part in some of the ones upcoming, that's for sure.
Sick.
That starts in 2025, I do believe.
Yeah.
From the conversations that I've had, these things is always changing and things going on. But and tomorrow's a mystery, and yesterday's history. So, got to live in the present right now.
It'd be a fun gig, though. It'd be fun.
It would be fun. I think it would be great.
Probably more pressure or no different?
No different.
How do you feel about the Olympics?
What, with skateboarding in it, or the Olympics in total?
No, with skateboarding in it. Sorry.
Skateboarding's an introduction to the Olympics. I think right now how they've tried to make the new courses not symmetrical is away from the Olympic thing. I think they're trying to involve too much of skate culture into the Olympics. I do believe that the Olympic stuff should almost kind of be seen separate to skateboarding. It's like a new branch on the tree, and it should be treated as such, because you're talking about people that are chasing a different game, athleticism, trying to be athletes. It's different to skate park at Tampa. It's different to street league. It's different to the dime contest. It's different to the street culture where you got magazines and stuff and video parts. And you're talking inside sport, not thrasher.
So when you say so you think it should be limited to disciplines like highest ollie?
That will all come. That will all come. So you look at
longest ollie.
That will happen.
Are you alluding to that's what the Olympics should be?
No. What I'm saying is, with lately, because I've watched this develop, it did start off with doing this the way street league used to be, and have you drew a line down the middle of the park, and it was exactly equal for goofy and regular. So if you were regular and goofy, you could do the same run as the other person of another stance. Not saying that you should, but just say that person got a 95. And then you're like, well, I can do that run, but I could add where he did a backflip, I could do a kickflip backflip shove. So I can get a 96. And I know that if I get that, I can strategically put myself into that position.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that's what you should do, but the opportunity should be there.
Okay.
And each opportunity should be equal for everybody, regardless of stance or ability. Do you know what I mean? The opportunity should be there, equal for everyone, for everything.
Okay.
So with the last course that they just did, there's ones you can only hit from certain sides for certain stances, and that changes the opportunity. It makes the judging harder.
Gotcha.
And because I've been part of the conversations with the powers that be with this, and they're saying, well, in the streets, you can only really hit that rail from that side, and if you're a regular goofy, you got to do this. And I'm like, yeah, but now what you're saying is that if one person only has the opportunity to do one version of it, and the other stance has the opportunity to do the other one, so you've made judging harder, and you've taken away opportunity.
Gotcha.
And does that make sense?
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
I feel that Olympics should go down the more structured side, and it should be almost separate, like the polar opposite to thrasher, making like magazine and street culture, making the courses go to how things are in the streets, is trying to adapt the culture to the Olympics.
Yes.
You're trying to take the sport of skateboarding and make an Olympic thing, not the culture if people get into it and they want to just chase that Olympic dream, they're a different type of skater.
Yeah, okay. Now,
They're not the ones that are they're not the ones living their life on the gutter.
mm-hmm.
They're not living their life like, puttying up a spot
Yeah.
or,
Like creatively adapting to the environment. It's like the street league guys, like amazing. I went to street league and they really are. They're amazing, but different. They're a different type of skater.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of those dudes do get in the streets, but even when they're in the streets, there's just like there's a noticeable difference.
It's robotic almost is what some people would say.
Yeah, but
the flair is gone.
Mate, yeah, that's
it's
it.
a different
that's
style.
It. Yeah, there is. I can't quite articulate what I want to say there, but
they're not T-Funk.
Exactly, like T-Funk's like for example, like a street league skater will go and practice on a rail in street league. It could be a 10 or 15 stair rail that they purpose built for street league. Then that skater will source out like a Hollywood 16 and then be able to adapt what they've done there in the streets. Whereas like T-Funk, his approach is like, I'm going to go to China Banks and try and ollie around.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
I think more is like T-Funk's not like I'm going to China Banks to do this. T-Funk's just like the spot that they're at the day that's where they're at.
And I was like, I wonder if I could ollie around that bench.
Yeah, where skater A that you're speaking of, he's got a trick list for a part and they're going to certain ones which are they know is going to be perfectly smooth and then to get said trick.
So you're saying it's like the general approach.
Yeah. And it's a different mindset altogether. And which is why, like, Niger, I don't think anytime soon will be thrash the soddy because it's not about the skating as much as, like, just living it. So he's living a different version of it, like, not the way the thrash the soddy is looked upon. Like, yeah, he's been doing it since forever. He's got amazing tricks. The parts are fucked up. I'm not taking away from any of that. But there's spot lists. There's tricks that he's trying to do. There's certain things. And just having that in its existence, it should rule you out of the top, the finalists.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's about lifestyle.
And that's how people that's how Sodi's gone the last few years. Like, that's what people are sort of,
Well, it hasn't been. What do you mean by that?
Well, what do you mean? Like, when Niger didn't get it and Tyshawn got it?
Yeah, people are like, how? And it's like, because the reason you're saying how is because you don't understand what a soddy is.
Like, so are you kind of saying, like, okay, that example, like Tyshawn was more encompassing the culture by the way he was skating than Niger was?
Yeah. Like, have you seen Niger at Bomber Hill? And is Niger out there, like, doing stuff over a bin? Like, just because it's in the streets and it's just happening at the time.
Yeah. Did Niger think to backside 180 kickflip over a subway station?
Well, they found that and they would just went, oh, this is the spot, instead of being like, where am I going to find a subway that I can do that?
Yeah. Or where's the perfect flat rail? Or
Yeah. It's
not to say,
it's more situational, isn't it?
I mean, Niger's some of the spots Niger found. Like,
I don't want to take away from how gnarly he's getting it. He's getting gnarly. I couldn't do that. I don't do what he does. I'm not saying that puts me on that playing field at all.
Yeah.
I just, when you understand what you're talking about, like, then it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you don't know what you're talking about.
Good call.
Is that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
It's a different thing. Oh, I really thought it was going to go T-Funk or Louis that last time, and Tyshawn to get it again. I realised that I haven't watched enough of his skating over that 12 months. That's all, because I don't. There's so much content every day.
We talk about that a lot on here.
There's so much content every day, and to keep up on every coast of every continent and everything in between is a lot. And you kind of just have to trust the powers that be in the end. Some people can bring it down to, he works for this company and they pay this much money. And in the end, in some situations, that does take effect. Or someone trying to be the first at doing something. Or someone trying to, You know, it's not actually what's going on, but something outside of, you know, that actual thing.
That's it.
It's the purity of it. Like, who's going to represent? Who's going to be the face of skateboarding for a year of sitting in the top spot?
Yeah, totally, man.
You know what I mean?
I guess that's when it was like, that's why, like,
And it's not the guy on Inside Sport cover with no clothes on. Or GQ or whatever.
I mean,
that
it's always a point of debate, but like, always wondering, like, with Nigel's, you know, his style. Oh, you want to go up, go the other way, yeah. Thanks, brother. All the way, yeah.
There you go. I see you keep touching.
There you go. I just didn't want it to keep banging. Thanks,
There you go.
man. That's better. I had it down because the sun was hitting before. But yeah, I mean, Nigel's style with the, you know,
doing
the
his
lycra
thing.
type, which I respect, but
Which I do too.
maybe
I
it's
think
just not
great.
sitting. It's just not hitting with people, despite how good his tricks are. You know,
It's 'cause
if Nigel was wearing a pair of baggy pants, Dickies,
it doesn't have to do with that.
you don't reckon?
No, it doesn't have to do with what he wears. This is coming from like the way you approach and the way that you live it. Like a Sodi is someone who does it purely for the soul. It's no ego.
But it's
The
a
money-
voting
what's-
system.
What's that?
What's a voting system now?
It's
Is
a
it
voting system, see what the people want, but then when it gets down to the last bit, it's the powers that be. And if
Who is it now that Phelps isn't there?
Bennett,
I think it's Bennett.
Yeah,
It is Bennett, definitely.
I think so. Do believe. But it's like, yeah, it's big shoes to fill. I'm unsure if he's in the position to sit in it until the next like person comes along, or if he's trying to sit in that seat until his time's done. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't been to that place, but they're very big shoes to fill. And when someone's stricken from it like that, you can't just replace them.
Gotcha.
You can't just sit someone in there and go, oh, this is the next guy. Do you know what I mean? It has to be something that needs to strategically be looked at in every avenue. It's like when the vice president comes in. Do you know what I mean? If the president dies, the vice president moves into his spot. And they're just there because they're actually just supportive of the person. They're good at what they do, but they're not really the guy. You know what I mean?
True.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. They're not.
Until the next guy comes along, or girl, the person that comes along to do it. It's that's that.
It is that.
Yeah, it's a hard topic to speak of.
Well, it is. And let's face it. I mean, Phelps really was kind of like the ambassador of the culture, and was kind of the marking point for what it was. You know, it was looked to a lot, or he was vocal about what he thought it should be.
Yeah,
and people followed that, and it did it. Made Thrasher what it is, and then that became the.
It literally just come down to the purity of it.
Yeah.
He knew how to weed them out. He knew how to find people and get rid of the bullshit.
It's true.
He knew how to see through someone, and find out what they're about really fast.
It's true, man.
Yeah, it's an amazing human.
How are you feeling? Tired?
I'm all right
It's been a 3-hour session.
already.
Yeah, I might need to wrap it up soon.
Okay, well, I'll leave you on this note that if anybody out there's feeling depressed, and having suicidal thoughts, I just want you to know that it's your brain trying to figure a way out. So what it has to do is it has to get rid of the old self to make the new self. So it needs to kill off yourself. You need to make change in your life, and it's hard to make change. Sometimes it just might be small bits. You just start with something small, something really small, but you need to make change in your life. And when your brain can't figure out how to do change because you're so stuck in your ways, or you don't want to do this and don't want to do that, it's a fight between ego as well. Make small changes and it will change your existence and you'll become a better and new person. So definitely remember that.
That's nice, man. Is that, if you don't mind me asking, is it something that's impacted on your life? Or?
Yeah, well, we all have these thoughts. It's not uncommon. I think people think that they're alone when they come to suicidal thoughts and tendencies and things, but everyone goes through it. And anyone who's been through it, and when they're on the other side, they realize that, there's life still goes on. And the way we do this is by making changes to ourselves. And it's got nothing to do with anyone else. Yeah, we can, and it comes back to placing our trust and love in others when we're hurt and we feel certain ways when something happens in our lives that we weren't expecting. But just, you've got this. Keep on battling. Just make some small changes or drastic change. They're gonna help.
Yeah, man. That's nice, dude. I'm glad you mentioned that. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Anything else? Like, we covered every topic.
We've still got some more one day.
You got more stories?
Oh, definitely. I got heaps of stories.
You do, eh?
Yeah, I got a lot more than that. It's not the end.
You reckon?
Yeah,
well,
we haven't touched a lot of things.
Dude, I don't want to leave anything out, though.
No, just stories of shit.
Okay.
Some fun.
I'll have to have you back on again sometime.
Maybe at some point.
Dude,
see how we go. Thanks for having us.
Over there, Mr. Russell Grundy, everyone. Hello. Listen, it's this. I have played the outro music, but it's 2 hours and 59 minutes. We've got to go to 3 hours, dude. I can't stop it there. Give me.
Got 10 seconds.
Go. Come on, Russ. Give me some in the last 10 seconds. We can't get this close to 3 hours.
Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening to this.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Quick advice to beginners: keep skating.
Yeah, never stop.
I'm going to go outro
Don't grow
again.
up, it's a trap.
Don't grow up, it's a trap. This is a podcast first. I'm playing the outro twice.